Yo, this is KD,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. What up, what up, what up? We are back, episode 12 of the K&D Exchange. Yeah, man, 12, big number, double digits. Let's go. All right. I am your host, KD, with co-host David. David, what's going on?
Oh man, life is going on. We're all good out here. How are you?
Yeah, all right, man. Yeah, man. So, yeah, fuck, man. Episode 12, crazy, man.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, we just try not to open up the podcast like this from now on, because I think we've done it for the last 3 episodes in a row. Just being like, man, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, and
fuck,
people are
man,
like, this is early doors, man. Like you'll celebrate,
Yeah.
you're patting yourselves on the back. Like celebrate when you get to 300, idiots.
Exactly, yeah. Because once we get to our first like 100 episodes, people are like, yeah, you guys were celebrating already, man. What's the big deal? One episode is good enough for you lot. But yeah,
Real talk.
yeah, man. Yeah, but it's been fun. It's been fun, man. I'm really enjoying doing this. But yeah, so a few things though. We want to actually probably for the new listeners, as I do every episode, we are a music review discussion podcast, and we're built on exchanging ideas and bridging the gap. So we give each other an album each week, the other person to listen to, and it'll be an album they haven't heard but we are familiar with. So then we discuss that the following week, and it's like I said before, bridging together the kind of gap between perspectives, ideas, genre, etc., etc. Certain things I haven't listened to so far on this podcast that I would not have checked out before, and then at all, or it would just may have never come on my radar. And certain stuff's been on my list, and now because David's given me that album or that artist to listen to, it's kind of given me the push to actually do it. Had we not done this show, it may not have happened. I'm sure you feel the same way, David, or at least similarly.
Yeah, for real, man.
But that ties into what I need to say next. For returning listeners, we thank you very, very much for sticking with us. And we're still trying to find our feet with what works best. And I think we've both decided now actually to reformat the show slightly. So we're still working on the exchange, where we give each other an album to listen to. But now we're going to split it. So now we discuss it one album per week as opposed to 2 albums a week. So for example, David will give me an album to listen to for the next week. That's the first exchange. Next week we discuss it. At the end of that episode, it's my turn to give David an album to listen to. So it's just a more kind of focused approach to our discussion, and even just keeping it kind of a bit more. What would you say? Word like airtight? Is that the right
It's
word?
brevity, really. Just keeping
Brevity,
things a
yeah.
little more, short and concise. Because
Yeah.
we have a tendency to go on many a tangent and long
We are
out
the
an
tangent
episode.
kings.
Yeah, man. I mean, like last week we clocked up 2 hours 45. And it might scare some people away from listening. So if we can wrap things up in half that time, and give a more concise view of a singular album, that way per week we can give that particular artist and that particular album the shine that it deserves.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. And also, when we go off on these tangents, I feel like I want to go into some of them in a bit more depth, but then it's like remembering that that's not what we came here to discuss. So
for real.
Yeah, so it's like, if we want to keep this more focused, but also because we are jumping on the new wave, which is Stereo, which is a new live podcasting app. I'm not sure how new it is, but it seems relatively new, I think, right? David put me onto this, and it's an interesting concept. It's a, you know, I mean, I've used it for the last couple of days, and it's strange. You go on there, and there's just people talking, and you can just jump in with your kind of discussions, comments, etc. And it's, you know, it's interesting. So we're going to be utilizing that platform and going live every Thursday, 8 p.m. to discuss things that usually we would tangent off into. Now, you know, don't get it twisted. We probably will tangent off a little bit during these discussions. We're not keeping it strict here. Yeah, you know, but knowing that we actually will have another platform on which to kind of really explore some of these other topics that are like not album based, if that makes sense. They're still within the realm of either music or culture or whatever we tangent off into, but we can treat it as its own kind of focused conversation. Also, people can, if you're on the Stereo app and you join the conversation, you can jump in and be part of the conversation. I think that's one of the kind of really, really appealing parts of it, is that we can feed off of, you know, the audience participation and stuff like that. You know, I think that'd be kind of cool, like having people kind of jump in with a new perspective. You know, the exchange opens up. The exchange of ideas opens up to the floor, you know. So yeah, so that's what we're kind of aiming to do here. We're branching out. Your boys are trying to do big things, right? That's how I see it.
Humble beginnings, but yeah.
Humble beginnings, yeah. So you can come back to this in a year's time, a couple years' time, and be like, this is what started it all. This is what started it. The exchange empire. But yeah, let's not shoot myself in the foot right there. But
12 episodes deep.
12 episodes deep. What other podcasts do you know? Well, yeah,
apart from every single notable one. But
apart from
anyway.
any other self-respecting podcast. Yeah. And even the non-self-respecting ones. But yes. Okay. So
so we've already, it's gone off the rails already. You had one job to do, man. One job, and
I think I wrapped it up.
You did all right.
I think I did okay. But yeah, now with that out of my system, let's. How we usually start is we start with David's exchange for me. So David, what album did you give me this week to listen to?
I gave you Robert Glasper's Piano for the Win musical album called Black Radio, released in 2012.
Facts.
KB, what did you think of this 12-track monster?
12 tracks. I know we talk about length on the podcast quite a lot, but it's 12 tracks. This is like D'Angelo, right? Where it's 10 tracks, but actually it's a long album.
Really is, isn't it?
To an extent, yeah. This one's a long one too, an hour and 5 minutes, but it's 12 songs. I mean, that final track alone is what, about 7.5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I am familiar with Robert Glasper. I think last time I thought I'd heard this album before, but I hadn't. I'd heard the remix EP. I don't know if you've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that, but ages ago, so I don't really remember it.
Yeah, I just remember it said Black Radio in the title, so I thought it was this, but I'm glad I actually got to listen to the OG, because this I recognized stuff on here. I recognized some of the track titles, and I recognized some of the stuff on here. So I'll go through kind of the album. Actually, no, I'll give the kind of overall what I thought, because I thought this was an amazing album, right?
Oh, amazing.
I don't expect any less from someone like Robert Glasper. Like, when I see a production credit to him, I'm like, yes, I'm down. He was on Royce's album. He was on Book of Ryan on a great song. What was that? He was Outside, and Marsha Ambrosio is on that song, and she's singing that hook like over his production, and it's just so haunting and beautiful. And yeah, man, like I'm trying to think of other examples that he's on, but yeah, you know, his name comes with that kind of stamp of approval of quality. And you know, I'm a jazz fan as well, not like deep in, but like you know, I can't say I'm an expert or anything, but I really like his form of kind of musicality and jazz and soul and stuff, because it's like, you know, I love the drums, the drums are so nice and heavy, yet they feel like they're not dipped in water, but like splashed with it. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain what I see when I hear it. You know, it's like they exist in a sea. It's very atmospheric. It's very
it's funny that you say that. Sorry to interrupt your flow. It's funny that you say that it, you know, atmospheric and that, like, it's a sea, because the overwhelming color of this album, like the feels it gives me, blue. It's different gradients of the color blue.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Because that's how it feels to me. It feels like it's it feels like it's only clocked for me now, actually saying it out loud. It feels like I'm underwater listening to this, but not in a sense of, you know, when you get those really bad quality like MP3s and stuff, and it's like that shit sounds like it's been dragged underwater, right? Because there's no body and no bass.
My childhood on Napster.
And the LimeWire stuff and everything. Like you only, when you look back at it now, you're like, and you hear the actual quality song, the full quality song, you listen back to the original, the one that you downloaded, you're like, fuck, man.
It's like 312 kilobits or something.
I can't remember what it's like, KPS or something. And you want, like, if it's 120 or something or less, then you're not in for a good time. Like the standard is, I think, like 256 or something like that. And man, it's but this is different. When I say this feels like water, like it's like a beautiful deep ocean kind of, the drums fall in with you, but they have body and weight. And it's just, man, it's just, you have to listen to understand what I'm trying to say. You know, there's only so much I can describe. And I just love his drum work. I love his piano work as well. Jazz pianos will forever be something that puts me in a particular vibe and a particular kind of, it's one of those things where, I don't know if you get this, when you hear something and you think, nah, this over everything. Sometimes you forget about that thing. Yeah. Until you hear it, then you're like, you know what? If I had to choose between this and everything else, I'm choosing this. That's what it's like for me when I hear jazz stuff, because I would just think, okay, I don't listen to it often enough, or I'll think, yeah, these kind of pianos, this kind of vibe. If I had to just pick one vibe, I'm picking this one. You know, that's what jazz kind of pianos do to me, man. But yeah, I love the compositions. I love the atmosphere, and you know, I like how he sequenced the album. I thought that he picked the right artists to be on the right tracks, and you know, I feel like you could put this album on in the background, just vibe to it, right? You could just put it on and just chill. But if you want to do a more focused listen, if you want to do a bit more of a kind of, you put your headphones on and kind of go with it and pay attention to it, there's a lot there for you to kind of pick up on and, you know, listen to and hone in on, like different and details and things like that, you know? So I like stuff like that where you can play it in the background, you can chill with it, but then there's depth in there for you if you want to go in and deep dive. And this was definitely something like that. So I'll go through it, through tracks. The opening was cool. I like how I only noticed on my like second or third listen at the end when they do the mic check that they have like almost it sounded like all the people that were on the album, like that are gonna be on the album, are on that mic check. And I was just like, oh, that's cool, man. Like that just, it adds this live kind of feel. Like they're all there in the same room, you know? And then it's like Erykah Badu's on first, and then Lupe's got his part later. But yeah, man, I've heard Afro Blue before, probably because of the remix EP. I love Erykah Badu in general. She's sick. Like, she's one of those people that everything she touches, to me so far that I've heard, it's like gold.
It is just gold. She's unbelievable.
I think we said this before, but it feels like she embodies that neo soul vibe.
Yeah. Well, she's so unique as well. She's not just sort of, you know, she's not just pigeonholed into one genre per se. She's kind of her own genre. And it didn't really hit me until I saw her live. I just remember thinking, my goodness, this is probably one of this. It's a transformative moment. If anyone's ever seen her live, it is quite a transformative moment. And I was about Jeez. So it's about 18, 19 years ago, a long old time ago. I still remember standing there just watching her, and I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah, those kind of ones that really stick to you like that. Yeah, those are those kind of special moments, isn't it?
She is amazing, and this song is just, I love it.
That flute part and the drum work, it's just sick, man. That pairing's just so good. What a great opening kind of first like song, if that makes sense. Like take away the from the intro, but this to be the first kind of thing that kind of brings it, kick starts the whole shit. Like, yeah, that was a banger. Feels weird calling any of this kind of music bangers, but like you know what I mean when I mean in the generic sense.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's just so good, man. Cherish the Day with Lala Hathaway, definitely one of my favorite songs on the entire thing. I love, again, like, it's just, there's something about this particular vibe and the instrumentation where it's like the way she's singing over it, again, just like with the Erica one, perfect pairing between the music and her, Lala Hathaway, I mean. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, I can't wait to listen to this in the sunshine. A lot of this, I can't wait for it to be kind of consistently warm and consistently sunny outside, and I can just kind of put it on and kind of, because sometimes your environment can change how you perceive the music that you're listening to, and vice versa as well. And you really can soak up the vibe. When we talked about going to LA and listening to music that was made in LA, and you suddenly feel it much more. It's like that when you have vibes like this, when you play the music in the right settings, it all clicks, it all comes together. This is one of them songs, man. I fucking love this song.
This is really, like, honestly, it warms my heart a little bit to hear that. This album blew me away the first time I heard it. I heard it in 2014, I think. I was on the way I was commuting into London to work, and I would just not forget. Like, my mouth was basically agape the whole journey in, because I just thought, what am I being? I've not heard anything like this, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, man. I think I heard the remix EP on a train too, right? I did a lot of listening, like on a train, like on trains, going back and forth to places and commuting and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of memories of hearing stuff is usually I just associate it to being on a train and just hearing the music. It's just a good moment to kind of really just soak up kind of new vibes and stuff. Because I remember hearing the remix EP, I think, and thinking, wow, I haven't heard this kind of sound before, and didn't know that was like Robert Glasper's sound, if that makes sense. So I was like, yes, this is like forever since then. He's got a big discography as well, all the way up to 2019. I don't know if he's got anything this year.
It's actually humongous.
He did a movie soundtrack this year as well. Yeah, he's got so much stuff. Called, I can't remember what it's called, Fuck Your Feelings or something like that. It's like Fuck Your Feelings, and I'm just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that from you. Even though
it's a little bit strong.
Yeah, I'm saying that as if I know him, right? I've only listened to this one album, but it was interesting. There's all these other MCs on it, like Denzel Curry and people like that, and it's quite like up to date. So I'm like, what could this be? I'm really interested to go back and listen to that. And it's like, I thought it might have been like a response thing to the stuff that was happening in 2020, but this was in 2019. So I'm like, okay, it's interesting.
Yeah, he's released instrumentals in 2020.
Okay.
So Fuck Your Feelings instrumentals in 2020.
Damn. Okay. Next song, the one with Lupe.
Oh boy,
Lupe Fiasco. The fucking Don, the fucking god. Like, he's just like, he's at this new, he's an artist who has got to this point where he has his like classic material, like Food and Liquor and The Cool, and then he hasn't tried to emulate that, which I think is good. He's kind of left it as it is, And now he's just going up into, I'm just going to do my own shit. So, you know, from Tetsuo and Youth onwards, he's just been doing his own weird, abstract, esoteric shit, but it's just so fucking good. Like, I can't tell you how much I love Lupe Fiasco. His name, him as an artist, his lyrics, his discography, also the fact that he fell off for me at a certain point, like as in I stopped checking for him. And then when I got back on the train, I was like, I'm fully strapped down on it. So like, even if he releases some dog shit now, I'm like, I'm still on the train, bruv. Like, you have my full faith restored. Do you know what I mean? But he was so smooth over this. Like, he was so, like, I don't know if they did something to his vocals or whatever, like filtered it or anything like that. But it sounded like he was like in water as well. If we want to keep to that water analogy, he floated over this beat, man. And he's one of those guys, you have to break down what he's saying. You have to go read the lyrics.
You do. Yeah, you really do. He's very deep.
You can listen just as is and still have a good time. But if you really want the full scope, you need to like focus and do a little read through and kind of see what people are interpreting his lyrics as and things like that, because you know he's really good at that. It's funny that you mentioned the C thing, that he's what did you say? He's something like he's yeah. And we're talking about like him floating, and we're talking about this whole water sea thing. Because on Drogas Wave, like the first few tracks on that are all conceptual. They're all about the sea and like the slaves coming over in the ships, and it's the story of them, you know, falling out of the ship, and then they're, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, maybe that's just his thing. But, you know, as in like water and stuff like that. But yeah, Lupe is fucking, I remember someone describing to me before that Lupe Fiasco is such a good MC that he could make a song about, he could rap about like a chicken or like a dustbin or some other random shit, and you'd be into it. Like,
I agree.
It so good. Like, yeah, this guy is fucking next level, man. It also made me think about how I personally treat, like, I don't know if you get this, but how I treat albums by producers. Because like, you know, I'll check out Static Selector's albums and stuff, but I tend to see them as like compilations as opposed to like their artistic vision. For some reason, I tend to see it as Static Selector. He's made a bunch of beats. He's got some guys to come on it and rap over it and make the songs. And then he's obviously put it together and stuff. So he's like the main artist, right? He's the one composing it, putting it all together. Yeah. But I don't tend to go and listen to his albums in full. I just kind of pick songs out that I like. Whereas this is technically the same thing, because Robert Glasper's not got a voice on this. I mean, his voice is, you could say, through his music, but so is someone like Static Selector. And this is not like a DJ Khaled thing where you have to wonder, what the fuck did you even do, right? Like, Static Selector, we know what he's doing. Robert Glasper, we know what he's doing. And yet, for some reason, I treat this as like, yeah, it's a Robert Glasper album. I listen to it as a whole piece. For Static Selector, I'm picking and choosing songs that I like, you know? I'm not sure what that is.
It is because of the live instruments. That's it.
Do you think that's what pulls it together?
So this is what I will always gravitate to, like bands and music that is played as opposed to producers. I'm wired that way. There is something a lot more impactful when you listen to an album which has been played by a collective of people. There's just something almost I can't think of the word. It's like a tribal. It's like personal? A throwback. It's like, yes, yeah. It's very much like gathering around the fire and having like a bunch of musicians like play for you. There's something quite old school about it. And when I say old school, I mean thousands of years old, you know. I think I personally really enjoy some albums by producers like take our boy Apollo Brown. I mean, the guy hasn't done a song that I dislike, and take Sincerely Detroit. That album. Right. So would you look at that as like an ensemble cast on an ensemble album? Would you think that, or do you think that is just Apollo Brown's stamp? Like, this is his vision? Because for me,
see, that's the thing. Like,
go on.
No, you're right. What are you gonna say? That's how do you see it?
I see it like Robert Glasper. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I see it as there are some exceptions to the rule, because take a DJ Khaled, for example. The guy's just he's basic,
he's
like
really. Yeah, he's just putting people together on beats, and he's like an A&R who's somehow got his name as the stamp on the album.
That's it. Yeah. And you take, Static Selector is a really good example. I just find it. I find if you shift your perception, not just a producer but a composer. So that's basically what Robert Glasper is. He's quite
that's
clearly.
The word that came to mind as well, actually.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know if this is fact as well, or just made up in my head, but I get the impression that there's a lot of artistic freedom that Robert Glasper allows. But I don't think he's one of those militant kind of people. I think that he's very much like, if he's got like a bass player with him, he'll say, "Here are the notes. Here's what I'm playing on keys.
Do your thing.
Do what you want to do." And I really do get a real sense of community feeling from this album.
For sure. So, it's interesting you bring up the Apollo Brown thing, because I'm just thinking, like, obviously when he does it's different if he does the one producer, one MC thing. That's I see that differently.
Totally different.
Yeah, but for some reason when it's just the one producer and it's just like 12 songs, all of their beats, but there's a bunch of different MCs on it, for some reason it then changes my perspective on it, and I don't treat it as like Apollo Brown's. For some reason, weirdly, Sincerely Detroit, I do see that as Apollo Brown's artistic vision. Static Selector, it feels like a compilation of beats that he had, and he was like, yeah, Joey Badass will sound good on this. Oh yeah, Coat of the Friend will sound really good on this, as well as Killer Mike and Pusha T on this one. Things like that. And it's like, I don't know why I'm seeing it differently for that. Maybe Sincerely Detroit has a feels like in the title it has kind of concept because it's about his hometown, so he's got those kind of artists on there and stuff. So yeah, maybe it feels like that. Static Selector feels like he puts out these albums because it's a great way of showcasing his ability, because it's like, I've got an album, all of these beats are mine, and check out all these MCs who co-sign, that kind of thing. Do you get what I mean? But it's totally interesting. It's interesting with Robert Glasper. It's different. It feels like he's the it could be my bias as well, because for me, I listen to a lot of obviously like hip hop albums where it's like my focus is the MC and what their vision is, right? And so if I'm not hearing any words on the shit, or if I'm not hearing a singular person or a singular voice, it's like, whose vision is this? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a vision? And maybe it's a mindset I need to get out of, that of just what's the word? Because what's the word when you're doing it all the time?
You've grown accustomed to it.
Yeah, I'm just accustomed to that. It's not routine. I'm just grown accustomed to it. I need to get out of that kind of mentality. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't see anything wrong, bro. Like,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't see it as one way or the other. Like,
no, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it just made me wonder. Like, what? I only realized listening to this, I was like, why is there a difference? Why am I feeling a difference between this and, let's say, someone? Because I really rate Static Selector. That's the thing. But for some reason in my head, I'm not treating his albums like they're kind of something I listen to back to front of his. It feels more like he's put out a beat tape, but these beat tapes happen to have MCs on them. So instead of picking out beats to rap over, I'm picking out songs to listen to.
Sure.
You get what I mean?
Sure thing. Yeah.
Whereas with Robert Glasper, I'm not doing that. I'm not picking and choosing. I'm seeing the whole vision. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe it's the way it's done. Maybe I know how beats are made and stuff, and it's more based on like looping the verse and then changing it up for the chorus for a few bars and stuff like that. Maybe I'm seeing that regimented approach in my head, whereas with this feels a bit more moving and kind of not moving in emotional sense, but there's more moving parts. It's more the music changes based on certain things and certain points of the album and things like that, you know, based on who's on it at that point. You know, Lupe Fiasco is an instrument in its own right, in his own right within the song, you know, whereas on Static Selector, Joey Badass, I think that's what it is. When I listen to Static Selector's album and Pusha T, Killer Mike and Black Thought are on a track together, I'm thinking it's one of their songs. I'm not thinking it's Static Selector's song. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
right?
ownership.
Yeah, it feels like, so when Joey Badass has his solo song, like on a Static Selector album, he has that a few times, right? Because they have a good relationship. I'm in my head hearing that as Joey Badass's song. Technically, because in any other sense, it would be. You rarely see it as the producer featuring the artist. It's the artist produced by the producer.
Correct. Yeah, good point.
That's what it is, you know. So maybe that's what it is. So on something like this, there's something I know it's Robert Glasper's song, regardless if Lupe is on the whole thing, right?
Sure thing. Yeah. They're in. Basically, you've ascertained the difference right there. Yeah. I couldn't have put that better myself.
Yeah, it's weird when you start saying these things out loud. It's almost like it clears your brain a little bit and you start to think through it a bit more clearly. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. Still, maybe I could change that still, but but yeah, it is what it is, man. Because but yeah, Gonna Be All Right, that's beautiful as well. Love that song. And you know, at the end when there's like, you know, things that, oh man, you know, people don't care anymore, people don't do this and that. It's like, I feel like we've been having that conversation about people who don't think anymore, who don't do this anymore, don't do that anymore. Not like the old days. We've been having this conversation forever, because it reminded me that, like, oh, this album came out in 2012. It's the same thing with De La Soul, and I'm like, shit, that album came out in 2007. I still hear people talk about this shit. Do you know what I mean? But they're probably talking about, man, do you remember back in 2010 when there were like all these major hip hop albums came out? What a good time to be alive. Go back to 2010. Man, no one's doing it like it was back in the day. No one's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, come on, man.
Listen, Tupac's death is only like 14, 15 years old at that point. We're still feeling it. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, everybody was still trying to sort of move away from that. And hip hop anyway, but
it could be what that could be. Yeah, that's crazy actually. I was only 15 years removed from that in 2010.
Yeah, it was not a long time at all. And I think since time immemorial, I think everybody will be saying it ain't like it was, you know, it was better back in the old days or whatever.
One thing I'll escape that nostalgic part of your mind, isn't it?
Absolutely. One thing I will say, just really quickly on that point, is that I grew up with stuff like Thundercats and Ghostbusters and cool shit. Half these, because of my son, right? And Transformers, and you know, half these cartoons that the kids are watching, like, nah, they're just terrible. You know, it ain't like it used to be. But
fair enough.
Cool, innit? Let's move on.
We'll have that as its own topic of discussion. Is it really not how it like it used to be? We'll deep dive on that. Next song with We Are King. Never heard of them before. Pure vibes. Because I mean, it's not a full like big song, is it? It's just kind of just vibey, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like Yeah as well. I love Music Soul Child. I've been meaning to deep dive into his discography for a while.
There is something about this man's voice that is so aesthetically and aurally pleasing to me. Man. Every time he sings, I just have to listen. I think he's got a fantastic voice. The thing is, like, when you listen to his albums, like I Just Want to Sing or something like that,
that's the one. Yeah,
it does wear, like with R&B albums, I think it does wear after a while. But when you take a singular tune like
what's the tune on that album that I love?
Is it Half Crazy's on that album?
Just Friends.
Oh, Just Friends, yeah. I mean,
what a banger.
Brilliant song, right? His voice is just fantastic, and I was thinking earlier on today that we haven't mentioned Music Soul Child at all, and I'm so glad that we got to mention him.
For sure, man. Yeah, he hasn't come up for some reason, but yeah, that song was really good. I like the back and forth. That's the one with him and Chrisette Michele, right? Yeah, and they're kind of talking. They have their own kind of parts on that, and I like the lines. I think beauty's overrated because that's something anyone can be. Attraction now, that's something different. Thankfully, you're both to me. I was like, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Because I think a lot of people might, regardless of what some people might say, I think a lot of people will kind of tell you that, you know, when it comes to across the board, when it's like aesthetic kind of, what's the word? Like compliments about things or things in general, when things look good. The kind of, I guess, what would you call it? The dopamine rush or the endorphin rush from receiving that compliment about how good something looks or how good you look doesn't always, especially in comparison to other things, doesn't last that long. The high of it, like someone can tell you how good you look and it'll be like, boom, shoot up, endorphin rush. Like, whoa, I'm gassed. And then, you know, you'll go sleep, wake up. I don't think you're going to wake up gassed necessarily. You know, you might do, but it's going to wear away after a while. You know, something will come up and it will knock it out of the park and make you feel just back to normal. You know,
absolutely. Whereas right.
The deeper kind of part of it, and it sounds a bit cliche to say, but it is what it is, right? It comes from experience. You realize that, you know, when there's more depth to something. I mean, okay, you can even talk about it with music. If there's music, there's so much music out there now, and a lot of it just sounds like, you can listen to music that just sounds really good, like bangers that you play in the car or with your friends or in the club, and you know, it's like, yeah, they sound great, but then, you know, you're going home and every day you're listening to these other songs that you really, really, really deeply connect with, that really move you, that really make you think. You're kind of putting that on. That's part of your life. You know, those are giving you the long-term kind of highs. You know, the other stuff is like for the gym, for when you go out with your friends, for these like kind of isolated moments. You know, not, you know, some people. I'm not saying that all that kind of, it never has long-term kind of effects for anyone. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that's an example where, you know, you might have stuff that you music that sounds great, doesn't. The endorphin rush from that is like not very long lasting.
That's it.
It can get very boring after a while. You know, it can sound great after a while when you realize there's not much depth, and you can get bored of it and just kind of move on. Like, okay, what's the next banger? What's the next? Happens with trap music all the time. It's always, what's the next banger? What's the next banger? Okay, this one's kind of run its course. What's the next one? What's the next one? That's why it's so repetitive. You know, it's built on that. Just you replace it. You've got to keep it fresh. Just got to keep moving. You know, whereas a Tupac or a J. Cole or whatever, or a Kendrick will stick with you for longer, you know?
That's it.
What were you going to say? Yeah.
Dude, it's just reflecting the superficiality that is 21st century living. That's basically what it is.
Bruv, yeah. Like, and it's unfortunate you don't realize that until experience. Whereas people can tell you that. Yeah, people can tell you all they want, but it's hard to sit there and be like, yeah, you know what, you might be right, you know, especially when you're young. You know, you might listen to your parents, you might listen to your older siblings or cousins or whoever, or friends who say to you like, yeah, you know, this stuff's not really that important, you know. You'll realize, you know, that old cliche, you'll realize when you're a bit older or when you've kind of lived a bit. And then when you're young and you're sitting there like, yeah, whatever, man, fuck that. I'm different. My life's gonna be different.
Yeah. You're unique, mate, just like everybody else. So
yeah, exactly. Right. And then it's only when you grow up and you realize like, man, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were right. Well, because I'm sure, you know, I'm sure you must have done it, but I remember when I was about 15, my parents told me, like my stepdad especially told me this one piece of information. He just said, you know, I'd watch out for, you know, this person. And then basically like 10 years later, like I don't speak to him anymore, but 10 years later, I was 25 and I went up to him just randomly and I was like, yo, Pops, like, You remember when you told me this? You were right. And we had a big old laugh after that because he was just like, you know what? You're now a man. Like, you get it. Like,
right.
do you know what I mean?
Get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad always used to say, especially when I moved out of the house and I got my own house, he would say to me, you know, I've got this letter written with all these things that you're going to do and you're going to become. And you can only open it at a certain time. I think it was all metaphorical because he has not given me said letter, right? But I think he was just trying to bullshit his way out of this. But no, I'm joking. But he basically what he said was what he said was, you know, what I should do is I should write down that, because we used to, like, me and my brothers would sit there and complain, like, bro, why'd you keep on asking us to fucking clean up all the time, like straight after the movie, and you know what? No, sorry, straight finished eating. Can't we just watch the movie and then we'll clean up? But my mom and dad were like clean freaks. So, you know, it was like, can't stand having any plates there on the table and stuff like that. Like, pause the movie, let's go up, let's wash everything. And I'm like, we're in the middle of the movie, bruv. Like, by the time we're all done cleaning, come back, people, you're going to start being like, oh, it's late now, oh, we're tired. And we're going to be like, bruv, we still got the movie left. Do you know what I mean? Like, for us, it was like, we're just like, bruv, like, that's just an example, right? And then he'll say to me, don't worry, when you get your own house and when you have your own kids and all that sort of stuff, you're going to start to change. And, you know, these are going to be the things. And I should write this down in a letter so that you read it at that moment and you can see that I was right. Like, at this moment, when I'm telling you, you're going to become this, you know, you can read that when you do become that thing that I'm telling you. And I hate to admit it, but there's certain things that I start feeling now when, like, say when my brothers come around now, you know, I'm sitting there now kind of telling them like, yeah, do you want to just, you know, dash that plate to the kitchen, please? Like, yeah, at least give me that. Just give me that at least. Yeah, but man. Yeah, no, yeah, so like certain things like that, I find myself like randomly cleaning up my kitchen and stuff like that, and then I'll just stop and be like, fuck, man, I never would have done this back in the day. Like, I'm getting the broom out and I'm sweeping because I'm like, fuck, I can't stand all those little crumbs on the floor and stuff like that. And I'm like, why didn't I do this in my old house? Like, but again, it's about your perspective, and you can't really always fathom how much is going to change in your head, because your brain's still developing even as you go into your like mid-20s and stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
But it is also what we were talking about last week about like music reflecting your the music artist put out is reflecting the reality that the artists are going through, right? And I think that, you know, when you've had, you know, positive parents and positive role models in your life, you will inevitably, by osmosis, just sort of become a lot more like them, you know. It's just one of those things. I mean, like, you know, I never thought I was quite a carefree human being, and ever since like having like our son and you know, becoming a, you know, homeowner and stuff, like I've just become my parents. And it's just even things that I say to my son, or even how I engage with friends and other parents, I'm like, I'm my parents now. I'm not David anymore.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like, I mean, I don't have kids or anything, but like I can imagine, like, I keep telling my partner, like, look, don't let me change how I dress unless it's for the better. Don't let me do this, don't let me do that. And that's not like, oh, because I don't want to look like my dad or anything like that, but I don't want to look like the typical kind of change that happens, like, you know, what people would say with, like, you know, someone becomes a dad and they're wearing like the fucking shirt with the jumper on top and it's tucked in and everything, and it's like, don't accidentally let that happen to me. I beg you. I
don't become Carlton Banks.
Yeah, please don't let me be that. I have to give you the extreme so that at least there's like a buffer. So don't let me become that, please. Anything close to that. But yeah, speaking of my dad, the next song, Why Do We Try? That was a great segue. I really thought that was Stevie Wonder on the song. And the reason I say speaking of my dad is because every time I hear Stevie Wonder, it reminds me of my dad, because he's such a huge fan of his. He's like even met him a couple of times and seen him live like so many times. Like, he's a big Stevie Wonder fan.
Amazing.
Yeah. So like every time I hear Stevie Wonder's music now, it reminds me just reminds me of my dad. And yeah, so like I love Stevie Wonder as well, man. I grew up on his music as much as I grew up on Michael's, but Michael was just kind of, I became my own fan of his. He was a bit more of an interesting character as well.
Yeah, definitely. He did more as well. Like, there was more spectacle as well.
Yeah, that's probably true. There's more like visual spectacle, right? So gravitate more towards that. And Stevie Wonder has been someone I've loved, and I've seen him live as well. He's fucking amazing live. And but as I've grown up, I've grown to really even much like more deeply appreciate his music. And I haven't even don't feel like I've scratched the surface of his discography either. Like,
yeah, there's
so much.
Yeah, well, he did
so much.
How many decades? 4.5 decades, I think.
Yeah, and his prime was one of the earlier ones, and yet, you know, I still grew up on a lot of the later music as well. So to me, it was all like really good. So it's like I've got that wide spectrum of Stevie Wonder music. Like I love Inner Vision. That's one of my favorite albums ever, right? Just ever, you know. What's the really, really famous classic one? Songs in the Key of Life. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? How could you not?
Do you know, I've just had an idea. We should do a deep dive on Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, we'll add that one to the list because this guy, how do you say this guy's name? Strockley? On this song, Strockley. I don't know about you, but I thought he sounded like Stevie Wonder. Like
yeah. I can hear that now that you've said it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like his inflections and stuff, and maybe not right at the beginning, but when he started to like make kind of when he was singing the more intelligible lyrics, not just like singing at the beginning, not just vibing at the beginning, but when he got into it, yeah, he sounded like Stevie Wonder, and I was like, whoa, Stevie Wonder's on here. That would make sense, but it wasn't him. But that would make for a good collab, I think.
Robert Glasper and Stevie Wonder. Oh, that would be two absolute G's of piano.
Bruv, like I think if Stevie wanted to make a comeback, you know, he dropped like 2 songs like last year, like 2 new songs. One of them had like Rhapsody on it. One of them had YBN Cordae on it. I was like, what? How do you know about YBN Cordae?
Yeah, I know. Stevie Wonder's got his ear to the streets, man.
Like, yeah, he was on Busta Rhymes' album, like one of them.
He's done. I think he's basically worked with everybody.
Yeah, Stevie's fucking sick, man.
Yeah, like, he's incredible. Have you seen the? There's a YouTube video. Young Stevie Wonder plays the drums.
I don't know.
Bro,
how young is he?
He's about. Well, he's like I think he's like in his 20s.
Oh,
and
okay.
they just help him to help him onto the drum kit, and he just blasts it away. You ain't never seen a drummer like this.
Mate.
He's unreal.
He's something special. I remember watching this thing where someone it's like one of those things, you know, when you ask like a musician or an artist, like, well, how did you come up with something? And we've had this discussion about how it feels like it's like the idea is out there and it's tuned into you, as opposed to you sitting there and coming up with it from scratch. So they were asking Stevie, like, well, how did you come up with the song I Wish? That's it, yeah. So how did you come up with I Wish? And he was like, well, first I kind of laid down, I just laid down the melody, and then he just plays it. Just boom, perfect, plays it. And I think they were getting a bit frustrated. They were like, no, how did you come up with it? And he was like, oh, well, I was just sitting there and this just came to me, and then he plays it again, right? And it's like, okay, no, how did you come up with that particular melody? Like, how did you come up with that? And then he's like, yeah, I just added the drum track, and he just does it. And then I just put this, and then I just did that. And then it's kind of like, yeah, you're not really going to get the answer you want.
You're never going to understand it, yeah.
You're not going to understand it unless you do it, right? It's not, you don't sit there and map it out. Especially someone like Stevie, like there's stories about him like phoning up people like 3 or 4 in the morning because he's like, I've got this idea, we can't let it go, right? We have to put it down. We have to record it. And back then, it's not like he would have had an iPhone to just...
True saying.
Like that, it would be like, you know, I need a way to get this down, even if, because people used to leave voicemails, I think, as like for ideas. I think there's some like MJ ones where he's left it on someone's voicemail. It's so weird that like I'm gonna leave this idea on your voicemail so that I can actually retrieve it, like when you'd be able to get the tape and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it's like on on the Beastie Boys track, 3 MCs and 1 DJ. Mixmaster Mike says, "Yo, I've wired up my turntables to a wah pedal," and he just does like this little ditty. He's just like, "Yeah, man, I've done it," and then it goes into 3 MCs and 1 DJ. Like it's that's sick, one of my favorite Beastie Boys tracks.
Idea, man. What album is that on?
Oh mate, I can't remember. I can see it. I can see the cover. What is
it? Is it got a white cover with like a lot of color on it, or
I think it's yellow.
Oh, that I can't remember what it's called though.
Hold on.
I need to do more.
Beastie Boys are so like I thoroughly enjoy them.
Yeah,
Hello Nasty. That's what it's.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't got that far yet.
It's got Intergalactic on there. Oh mate, yeah. That was when that's when I got hugely into the Beastie Boys. I think they are not that they're underrated, because a lot of people really rate them. They went from punk into sort of like hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just
License to Ill is an amazing album, man. So good, man. So fucking good.
Hey. Anyway, sorry, we digress.
We digress, yeah. But on this song, I really like this song, the one where I thought Stevie was on it. I feel like I'm not going to keep mentioning the musicality, because I mean, you know, it's something you have to listen to. It's also a given at this point. Like I said, his kind of stamp of quality is there. The song with Mos Def, or Yazin Bey as he's called now.
Right.
I think I've said that right.
Yeah, man.
It's just as great as I thought it would be when you mentioned it last time.
It's I thought it was my favorite track. I thought it was one of my favorite, and then Erica just stole it from me again today. So, but this
Cherish
song,
the Day stole it from me today.
For me, the winner of this song is the bass. There is a moment where Yassine Bey is he's sort of like vocalizing over the top, and the bass is just doing these like little fills, like did like that, right? And then to make like a bit of to make the chorus more impactful, the bass just, instead of like playing intermittently, just then plays these full notes underneath this like surging piano, and he's just singing over the top of it, and it just sounds
actually good as well.
Yeah, well, he's helped with lots and lots of reverb, because there's a lot of, mate, he doesn't miss a note or anything like that, but like it's just atmospheric, and it just builds into this amazing sort of
There's
crescendo.
A lot of space on this album. There's a lot of space. You know?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but there's because it's basically drums, bass, and piano for most of it, and it's for me, this is why I love like played music like so much. Like usually with bands, it's drums, bass, and a guitar, but guitar and piano are very, very depending on the player of the instrument, but they're very interlinked. You find that there's a lot of overlap with guitar and piano, and I find that especially with this album, when you've got such an accomplished pianist playing these amazing songs, it just fills your imagination. You don't really need anything else. You know, you can just, everything else is like garnish and salt and pepper and seasonings, whereas you've got like the meat and potatoes and the gravy already just there on your plate. So yeah, it's just
is it you that's been referring to, is it like the meat and potatoes and all that sort of stuff, or
it's me.
Did you get that from somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's from a YouTube channel.
Yeah, because I've heard that same thing, and I'm thinking, was that because of...
Get to the meat and potatoes. Who is it? I think it's a guy called Robert Jefferson, I think.
That makes so much sense. Is he talking about like mixing songs, or like how production works or something?
No. He's I've subscribed to his channel. He's like a dude that just talks about like just random stuff, and he always says, "Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this."
I think I'm thinking about something else, but yeah, it's funny. Like I've heard people talk about music like that. Like you know, you've got the meat and potatoes, and then you've got this part, and then this is the gravy on top. And when they're talking about how-tos for how to produce your music and how to
really
mix it and stuff. Yeah. So I was thinking, wait, is that because of you describing like certain music that way, or was that from something else? But anyways,
and there I was thinking I was being original. Screw.
I've I've heard that before.
Damn it.
Yeah, I love the way Mos Def sounds. I love it when they put that distortion on his voice, because his voice feels like it's got that natural distortion in it anyway. A bit like
exactly.
Q-Tip. Yeah, so good, man. I love the way he bounces over the beat. Mos Def has got this very particular flow. He's quite similar, I was going to say, to Q-Tip in that sense too. You know, they can be really kind of, I don't know what the word is, like bouncy. It's like very unique kind of sounding way of approaching beats. Yeah, Mos Def's fucking sick. Letter to Hermione, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
really
heard
nice.
that on the remix EP. Didn't realize it was a David Bowie cover. But I don't really listen to David Bowie like that, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I can't say I'm a Bowie fan.
Yeah, I just haven't checked out his music, so don't really know. Nothing against him, but yeah, Letter to Hermione. That's a nice song. Nice. The lyrics are cool. The lyrics are beautiful as well. They're very poetic.
Mm-hmm.
Just the vibe of the music. Again, we don't even need to mention the music, man. Like it's
you just got to listen to it. You just got to listen to it. It's unbelievable.
But that brings us to the final song, which is well, I wasn't expecting us to actually get here, so actually it felt so quick. But this is one of those albums where it feel like you just need to listen to it to really understand how we're describing it.
Yeah.
You know? It's one of those ones that when I heard Robert Glasper, I was like, fuck, haven't heard this kind of sound before. And it's like, then it like logs a new part in my brain. Like, oh, okay, so make a space for Robert Glasper, this, and then attach the kind of the audio to that. Like, this is that sound, this is that trademark. And it's like, okay, cool. And then, you know, when you hear other stuff and then something else comes along, which is like, fuck, that's fresh, that's new. And then it's like, okay, make space for this guy. And then this is the audio attachment. This is what that sounds like. Robert Glasper was one of those, like, you know, yeah, I obviously, what's the name of this song again?
Well, the last one?
Yeah, I forgot to write it down.
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That's it, yeah. So I knew this one was a cover, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I recognize the name. And also because, you know, that whole, that entertain us, I feel stupid and contagious and all that stuff. Like, we've all heard that. Even Jay-Z put it on, like, on his Holy Grail album. Like,
Magna Carta, Holy Grail.
Yeah, the Magna Carta one. Yeah, on the very first song.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking of both of them. So I was a bit confused at the beginning when I first heard that part, because this song's really subtle and low key. It's like a really low.
It's haunting.
Yeah, and weirdly jazzy and soulful, but haunting. At the same time, right? And so when it feels like it's going to crescendo into something, it doesn't. It very lightly steps it up a gear. That's the best way I can describe it. Very lightly. It's like we have gone up a gear, but ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Right? And it keeps in line with that muted kind of tune, and it's really laid back, really interesting flip of that song.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think it's a great ending to the album. It brings it kind of full circle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, unless I'm missing any other songs on here that are meant to be covers. It's interesting that the final two songs, is it the final two?
Yeah, the final
two songs
two
are covers.
Yeah,
you know, so I wonder what the motivation for that is. You know, unless there's others throughout the album I haven't noticed. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's anything in that. Robert Glasper strikes me as someone who would have a reason for putting certain things in certain places.
Agreed.
Yeah. But, you know, we move, because regardless, this whole album was fucking sick, man. Like, I'm glad you gave this to me, because it's kind of, obviously, like I said, I'm familiar with him, but this is like open the door into diving into his music a bit further. I gave this album, in terms of its rating, I gave it an 8. Why is it not higher? Because it as great as it is, it very easily does blend into the background for me. And I don't know if that's good enough to take away points, but it didn't feel, my feeling was to give it an 8, because it gives it its just due as a great body of work. Will I necessarily be coming back to it all the time to play it? Is a whole different thing. And does it capture me in that sense where I'm like, I need to listen to this Robert Glasper album? Or is it kind of, I'm in the mood, if I see it, I'm putting it on, weighing that kind of thing up. I think 8 is good. Again,
I think that's really fair, man.
Yeah, so that's why I wouldn't go higher.
What are your top 5?
Top 5 is Afro Blue, obviously.
Oh, so good.
Yep. Cherish the Day. Always Shine with Lupe. And then...
That's awesome, that song.
Yeah, man, it's so good. And then I was torn between Why Do We Try and It's Gonna Be All Right. I wrote down Why Do We Try because it sounds like Stevie. And
yeah, cool.
And it's a bit more kind of like the when it all comes crashing in. It's like that way we described like how the music filling up the box on one of the episodes. That's an example of when there's all this space and then it feels like the box is being filled up.
Yeah.
In that song, yeah, because it literally feels like your headphones are being filled up and there's no space. Like if you turn it up, that shit's gonna pierce into you.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Not in a very bad way, but in a kind of there's not much room to maneuver. Right?
yeah, you can't think about anything else.
Yeah. It's literally there's no way you could think or chill or put that in the background. And it's one of the few times on this album where it's like that because it's so laid back and so kind of chill and whatever. And then final song, Black Radio, so the Mos Def one.
Yeah, fantastic song.
Man. Trust me, man. Yeah, this album's really good. Robert Glasper, Black Radio. I'm glad I finally checked it out.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I've heard about it so often. And obviously, I know Robert Glasper and he's sick. So, yeah. And I want to check out that album. I'm really, really interested to hear from the track list, those particular artists over his kind of production. I'm really interested to hear what they do. I think he had, was it him who had the album out last year with Terrence Martin, the Dinner Party one?
Correct, Amondo.
Yeah. Shit, that was him as well.
No, the Dinner Party album is unreal.
Yeah, so good, man. So good.
But it basically does exactly what it says on the tin. It is for dinner. It's just amazing.
It's so good, man.
Do you know what? Maybe we'll have to do that. I was going to give that to you actually, but you've heard it.
Oh, so. Is it? Yeah. No, I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's move into the second album, today's episode. I gave you, this is my album for David. I gave you Music to Be Murdered By, side A only.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Music to Be Murdered By Eminem. What did you think?
Boy.
Let's jump in.
It is. So the thing is, for somebody who, when talking about an artist who has so much to say, there's not really much I can add by way of trying to do him justice.
Okay.
So we've been a K&D podcast. I'll see you next week.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Game over. Done.
That's it. Done.
I can't say much else.
In all fairness, I found this album really hard to get into because I think I've been on the Eminem train. I've been along for the ride basically since the start.
What's the start? What are we talking about?
Slim Shady LP.
Not from the Infinite days, yeah?
Nah, not from the Infinite. I still haven't heard that.
What?
Yeah, I still haven't listened to it. I don't know that many. I don't know that many people that have, to be fair. But
no, that's fair. I'm actually surprised by people when they tell me, like, I like the Infinite Eminem as well. I'm like, huh? You actually know about that? Like, it's just interesting to listen to. I wouldn't say it's essential, but yeah.
I have heard a couple of tracks off there which elude me now, but I haven't heard the whole thing. But just, the way that this album opens up with the digging and the crickets just sounds like just the two of us. And that was my first song that I ever heard of Eminem.
Mm, wow.
Just the two of us.
Oh, I didn't think about that comparison.
Every time I hear it, crickets and digging, I'm like, yep, I am like 15 again listening to this. Like,
have you seen that meme where it's like it's like asterisks and it will say like woman screaming or someone screaming or someone being stabbed and then Eminem. Yeah. Like, usually you have like a beat building up and the rapper's like, yeah. For Eminem, there's this backdrop of just bad shit happening, of just murder. I mean, it ties in with the music, there's name, I guess, but yeah, it's just funny, like Eminem, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, man. And then it goes into Unaccommodating featuring Young M.A. Every time I hear her voice, it always catches me off guard. It will always take me by the second time to be like, it's Young M.A., isn't it?
Right, right.
I'm like, who is this person rapping?
Sure,
because sometimes she could be either a lady or a guy. It's really androgynous. And
we discussed this off air, didn't we, last time? Yeah.
She always throws me. Always, because what I'll do is I'll listen to the album and I'll see how many people I can spot. Basically, I'm like, how good are my skills? And it took me the second time to
fair enough
to listen to be like, oh, it's her.
Well, an Eminem Young M.A. collab was kind of not really something we expected. You know, I definitely didn't expect that.
I wouldn't have put them two together at all. But she does a good job on this song anyway.
Trust me, man.
But then
I just get high, let my hoes lay low. I just want this face, but this is no face show. I love her thing. Do right and kill everybody, Drake mode. What's he say? Bitch, I'm trying to eat. I take your plate mode.
That's the one.
Yeah. You can leave this earth, bitch. I'm in rake mode. Leave earth, rake. Yeah,
mate.
Hard, man. I'm in cake mode.
She's smart and like
sick.
Eminem is
he fucking obliterates that shit, man.
But there's no point even talking about it because he's an absolute killer, like on his own album. I've got a couple of things to say though. I mean, it's anyway. You Go and Learn, track 3.
Wait, what did you think of the first track?
So Unaccommodating.
No, the Premonition.
Oh, sorry, Premonition. Thought it was really cool. I like the intro.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It was just very much like Eminem flexing. That's all. That's all it sort of was to me. Well, not saying much, but just flexing. You know, he's good. Okay, I'll save that for the end.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Sorry about
that. No, I was just thinking, like, wait, did we?
I just jumped straight in.
About the critics. Cool.
You Go and Learn, right? So as soon as I heard this, so for me, I know Eminem's really, really good, and the music switches up. Like they use a more sort of crescent bass when Eminem's playing it. Eminem's rapping, sorry.
There's a switch up at some point.
There is a switch up, and it's Eminem's really good. The thing is, Royce had so much to say.
Oh, mate, in such a short amount of time, bro.
The first 4 seconds, mate. The first 4 seconds of Royce was unbelievable.
Oh, mate, that rhyme scheme.
I just love the way he finishes off the first 2 lines with "out for a possible monopoly."
Yeah.
The thing is, you're saying that halfway through the third line, you're like breaking my brain.
Oh, mate. It's so good.
It's the way that it's just like out for a possible monopoly. And it's like, wait a minute. No, dude, no, you're not meant to do that.
Yeah, right.
Because it doesn't. Anyway, I mean, like just the fact that he's talking about, I love the rhyme scheme, especially with the words like reparations, segregation, separation.
Yes, I was going to mention that too.
Just those. Royce kills it. Absolutely kills
does his thing on that shit, man. Like,
my goodness.
Bro.
And the beat is offbeat. I love.
That's Royce's beat as well.
Okay, cool. I love this this beat, and Royce kills it for me. And so it's when it gets to Eminem, the fourth or fifth time I was listening to this album, I was like, nah, I'm done. Like, I don't need to hear you, Em. So
That's so funny.
like, I don't know if it's because like I'm listening to a lot more Royce da 5'9" now, and I'm looking at a lot of his freestyles, and
Yeah.
I'm sort of getting used to, you know, this second iteration of Royce.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Because Royce just keeps getting better and better, man.
he is like fine. What I've noticed a difference, and he is amazing now. But yeah, anyway, okay, cool. So Alfred, the interlude, not just like Alfred, Batman. Track number 5 is These Kind of Nights, featuring
With your boy
ginger friends, Ed Sheeran. Well, okay, it's not a terrible tune. It's kind of old school. I get like the real Slim Shady vibes.
Like D12 kind of things, right?
Yeah, I get that kind of fun, kind of mischief kind of vibe from this. I mean, yeah, it's
We're not
all
used
right.
to that anymore, are we?
Yeah, it's just basically it's like a bunch of antics, you know, that you do when you're sort of young and drunk and shit, and you know, and that's cool. In Too Deep.
Yeah.
Chatting about women. It's a decent tune. But it sounds like an admission of guilt. And it's okay. Like it's okay. It doesn't really do anything for me. Godzilla, this is the song that I had heard and watched on YouTube, so I was very, very familiar with it. I loved it when I first heard it. But in the context of this album, I thought, I don't know why this placement didn't really do it for me. Maybe it was because In Too Deep wasn't the right lead-in track for it, for me anyway.
Sure, yeah.
I thought that it was a bit. It doesn't stay with me, this song. But it was nice.
Do you mean because of where it was in the album?
That, and also the fact I don't think it's actually a great tune.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I don't particularly like the music. Love Eminem's fast flow. I will never tire of that. You know, you know, he's obviously got chops. I've barely spoken about Eminem's lyrics until now because
oh yeah, I know which song we're on now. Yeah.
Right, so you kind of gave me the hint. Darkness is the next tune. So this is basically already, this is the best tune on the album for me. Because it is
5'9" beat.
It is. This is the song that has stayed with me since the first time I listened to it, and it is. Wow, it's very heavy. So yes, on the one hand, it's about the Vegas shooter. Well, sorry, it is overtly about the Vegas shooter, and then there are undertones of him sort of going on stage and things like that. But I think
parallels, right?
There's a parallel, yeah. So he's saying that, you know, I'm gonna have to murder this shit and, you know, get on stage and do all of this, and it can't be half full. Maybe I'm like paranoid. Like, what if no one turns up and things like that?
It's totally whack if I murder a show nobody's at.
Yeah,
and you can read that two ways.
Exactly. I think this is. It's such a clever song. I'm
impressed at how much he kept it going. Like,
I know.
Like every line makes sense in either way that you do it. You know, either way you listen to it. You know, what is it like? Fuck the Colt 45. I'm gonna need something stronger. If I pop any caps, it better be off of vodka. Round after round after round, I'm getting loaded. That's a lot of shots, huh? And you can read that in two completely different ways.
Yeah. It's
so beautifully done, man.
Wordplay is it's brilliant, and this is Eminem. Like, this is, you know, flipping Son Goku ascended Saiyan level 3, man. Like, this is this is brilliant. The thing is, though, and I thought, I've been thinking about this. I've been chewing it over in my mind.
Sure.
What if the true meaning of this song was that Eminem detests his fans? The same fans that aren't with him, the same fans that back him into a corner. Because this comes back, the same fans that he wants to put an album where it's music to be murdered by.
Yeah.
What if the true darkness of this song was that he
Okay.
hates everybody?
That's an interesting take. Because then maybe that would make it tie into the music to be murdered by thing more kind of deeply, right?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because but at first I just used to think, okay, yeah, it's got that dark kind of vibe to it and stuff. Maybe it kind of fits like that. But I didn't think about it in terms of that. That's levels, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
This is what I'm here for.
Yeah, man. I wish he did that more often. It's this kind of thing.
But there's a lot of... So it ties in, right? Sure. Okay, yeah. So it ties into the next song, which is Leaving Heaven. Now, this is something that we are going to have to debate at some stage when it comes to the esoteric nature of rap itself and the selling of one's soul, right? Regardless of whether you say it.
Okay.
So that stuff, right? The scary stuff. Eminem in this song, Leaving Heaven, says it.
Yeah.
Says he sold his soul to get big, right?
Yeah. He said that before, right? In the Eminem show. Say goodbye to Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sold my soul to the devil. I never get it back. I'm just trying to leave this game with level head intact. Hard as fuck.
Absolutely. But yeah, you know, for fame and money and all that. But so it then lends the question, you know, he's done all that. He's gotten as big as he is. He's not a happy man because he's still releasing songs like this. Later on in the album, there's Stepdad, which is horrific. And it's so old school Eminem. This is, you know, go back to the Kim days of Eminem and stuff. You know, the really, you know, it actually made me puff out my cheeks and like even, like I got goosebumps. Like I never get shook or never get moved by much, right? But this, I was like, I felt like I was 15, 16 again, listening to Kim. Just not being able to understand what's going on, but that's later on. But for now, so Leaving Heaven, like, look, it's a very, 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 very heavy song, and I just wonder if what I was talking about with darkness, you know, what if he actually hates the fact he's in this situation, and he just hates everything, you know?
So interesting. Actually, I never thought about it like that, you know.
Listen, the thing is, he's so blatant about it, though. It's so blatant. So it makes me think, I don't think he's lying. MJ even said it in the song Money.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Even MJ said it. So there is something there. I'm not one of those like, Illuminati conspiracists and all that. I'm not, because it's not a conspiracy if these fuckers are telling you. But anyway,
yeah, I think they're giving an insight into without all the Illuminati devil worship and stuff. I think it's more like giving into, you're right, yeah, it's like giving an insight into what is actually like behind these kind of closed doors, what is actually like being an artist who's constantly in view, constantly, especially now on like social media. A lot of artists like have to delete their accounts and take breaks or get a team to like just do their social media for them because they can't stand. You're not designed to have this many people or the world have an opinion on you every single day.
No, you're
right?
not.
That's crazy. What kind of shit does that do to your mental health? Right?
And yeah, it comes full circle basically in this album. You get to see Eminem in the 21st century because he's not a young man at all. It's like you don't
47 or something, right?
Yeah, you don't need to do this, dude. You're nearly 50. Like, leave. Anyway, I'll get to that at the end. Obviously, track 10, Ya Ya, with it's Busta Rhymes. I didn't care for this one.
Really?
I know, because Royce and Black Thought are on it, right? And I absolutely love the rhyme schemes and stuff like that. Just the tune just did not do anything for me. I'm like,
fair enough, I guess. That shit gets me going at the gym. Like that gets me. I felt kind of the same way I think I set this expectation for myself when I saw the track list. And then it came on and I was like, it's a bit messy. It's a bit like, I don't know. I was expecting something else. But now, every time it comes on, I'm with it, man. That's one of my favorites. I love that shit. It took me a little bit of time. I can't tell if I'm just, I gave it the time I needed because Black Thought's on it and Royce is on it, and Q-Tip's on it, and Eminem's on it. Like, that's a powerhouse right there.
I mean, that's an awesome foursome, if ever I've heard it.
Bruv, Black Thought, you know, making plaques out of their head like dead venison. Used to be the bad lieutenant with M. Illiton. Spilling over fabulous jams, my man Dillison. Rap speak for me, I am the ventriloquist. And
there's a rhyme about the Indominus Rex as well. Like,
yeah.
I was like, listen, Black Thought is, as we said in like episode 2 or 3, he is perennially in his prime. He's always good. I've been listening to Black Thought for so long, but
Black Thought's so good. He had that ASMR line as well, right? Like,
yeah,
I break free like Chestermard, keep him guessing hard while broads say my bars is like ASMR. All my dogs is at the reservoir. Top 5, I'm where the legends are. And then even Eminem's in the background, like, keep going. Like, that shit was sick, man.
Listen, Black Thought he's nearly unparalleled, man. They're like, he's brilliant.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, again, like Royce absolutely destroys it. I think he's got
such a short amount of time again.
He's got so much weight behind what he says, and this is the thing: you can unpick his lyrics, like in "You Gon' Learn."
You gonna learn.
It's one of the best. I'm going to have to go back to this. It's one of the best intros one of the best opening verses I think I've ever heard. So I remember when I was talking about if there was an ensemble track like Busta Rhymes' Touch It, you know, if Inspector Deck isn't available and if Conway the Machine isn't available,
it's Royce.
Royce may even be the top dog. Get him first,
mate. Like, just Royce, just bring it every time. That whole bum stickety bum hun. I wrecked the whole of rumpa pum pum to give it a beat down for these clowns. Like, that shit's fucking gets me going every single time.
He's banging.
Fucking sick, man.
But yeah, it didn't move me. And then so we're at the halfway point of the album, right? And oh boy, okay, I'll get to it. So you've got the Stepdad intro, which is like 10, 11 seconds. And I just put, holy moly. And then the song, the Stepdad track 12. I mean, the fact that his stepdad killed his Chihuahua dog and the fact that I was like,
you got Chihuahua, this motherfucker.
I was like,
it cracks me up every time.
But the thing is, I actually played that scene in my head and just how horrific that would be for a child. And I would still be pissed about that. Like, that is some cerebral, horrible nonsense, right? And just this song is Eminem back to his prime, his primal form. He is phenomenally angry in this song.
Yeah, man.
And anyway, and then thankfully, like, he's really good at switching the mood, right? So he then switches Stepdad with Marsh, track 13, and I've just put flexing dash just unfair.
Mate, it's so unfair. Like, I don't know if you caught, like, there's some of the that's one of my favorite tunes. Like, some of the bars on that song where it's like and the way he's rhyming is like every single sentence is all rhyming, and then there's wordplay in there. Like on the second verse when he's like, I could keep beefing, fuck is the point, I can make it really difficult for motherfuckers to come to Detroit. If you're still looking for smoke, I already gave you an L. I'd rather just see you in hell, but I should get puff on a joint. Wait, run it back. I said give you an L in hell. Puff on a joint. I am the blunt you avoid. I could keep going because I love that fucking song.
Mate,
right?
he is.
So fucking
there's
good,
no point picking out lyrics, KD, because it is just a
I'm
tour
gonna
de
pick
force.
out lyrics because some people think he was dissing Cardi B on that song as well. Like,
who cares?
No, but I only noticed it when I listened back to this album today in preparation for this.
Oh yeah.
And one of the lines when he's like, I just thought he was just rhyming, you know. But then it's there's certain parts of it because he's like, Ho thinks her snatch is magical, but that's how she attracts men. Traps him in vaginal tarantula or black widow. In fact, it'll be nothing to throw that little bitch with a capital B out the back window with a black Cadillac limo like a whack demo. And you know, Cardi B, I don't know if you know, but she had this kind of scandal thing about how she admitted that she used to like when she was a stripper or whatever. She used to
rob men
and she used to rob them. She used to drug them, and something like that. And then so when he's saying, you know, Ho thinks her snatch is magical, that's how she attracts men, though, traps them and attacks similar to an actual arachnid or vaginal tarantula or black widow. And then he does I throw that little bitch with a capital B out the back window like a whack demo. You know, I don't know if he would go at someone like Cardi B for no reason like that. Because, I mean, he said names before, so I don't know why he wouldn't just say her name.
Old school Eminem will go after anyone. This is the thing.
But he would say names, though, innit?
Yeah, but I think he'd be a bit clever about it. Like, this is the thing. He is at the stage now where he can throw shots at just about anyone and end their career. I think, you know what? Upon reflection, he is talking about Cardi B.
You think so?
Yeah, man, 100.
Because she also won like she won this award in Detroit, and like Royce was like, why did she win that award in Detroit? The fuck, she's not even from there. She got like this, I need to look it up, I'll send it to you, because it was like really random. She won this award in Detroit, and it's like, she's not even from Detroit. Like, what could it have been for? What did you do? And I wonder if that's the kind of thing that would have like pissed him off, like Eminem. He's
100%.
He's so Detroit, right? He's so kind of linked to his hometown, and he's very defensive about that place and stuff, you know? So I wouldn't be surprised.
Wonder, is he so defensive? Does he still live there?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Ledge.
He's one of those guys who just hasn't, like, people ask him in interviews all the time, like, how come you haven't like gone to like LA or something like that? And he's just like, oh, I'm just a creature of habit. This is where I grew up, and I just
amazing. Okay, cool.
Here. He's like, he always drives by like where his old house was, his old neighborhoods, just for like nostalgia and stuff. Part of me wonders if he should get out of Detroit.
I think he 100% should, because if anybody has gone through the ringer with regards to mental health, it is this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I think he does need a clean break, because, I mean, I think that's how he gets his fire. I think that's how if he's still like going through, you know, through the old neighborhoods, maybe that's why he's making songs like Stepdad and
that's what I mean. Part of me wants him to break out of the kind of mold a little bit and kind of, I don't know. A happy
Eminem is a useless Eminem. Eminem only works with rage, right?
He does say that. He says that on Crook's Corner when he's talking to King Crooked. But
yeah,
I don't mean for him like to go and get happy. I mean, obviously, as a person, I'd wish for him like happiness, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of, I guess, his musical direction, I guess, a little bit. Like, you know, just, I don't know, not staying too much in the same bubble.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, after a while, it's like, it's great, but then after a while, it's like, I don't want to keep hearing the same things over and over again. You can say you can rap as good as you want, but it's gonna, after a while, the connection is gonna start to leave, because it's like, I've heard this already. Do you know what I mean? You know, doesn't matter if you spit it 1,000,000 miles a minute, or if you slow it down and switch up your flow like this and do it like this. That's all great. You know, like the aesthetic thing we were talking about earlier in the episode.
Yeah, for real.
The endorphin rush of that is kind of gets up there, but then after a while, you're like, okay, but where's the depth? You know, where there's nothing here to anchor me to this music anymore. It's like, you said this before already, but I actually preferred that song because that was fresh back then. You know, that song stuck with me. Keep saying it, if you keep doing the same thing, it's like, I kind of want him to break out of his shell a little bit, you know, break out of his bubble.
I do know what you mean. I think, I feel that with the song like Darkness, I think that is what Eminem can do, you know? Like, that's what I mean. It's a genius song. It's genius. I think it's brilliant, and it made me sort of pay attention to this song. I mean, it is the standout song on the album. It's the best one, so that's already going in my top 5. The next one, I'm going to lump Never Love Again.
Never Love Again, yeah.
And Little Engine. Again, didn't move me particularly. Obviously, the rhyme schemes are absolutely unbelievable, but it's what you expect. But like musically, it's meh. Lock It Up, however, now that just feels like old school. That just feels it feels right to me. Again, the rhyme schemes, everything that he does is just magic. So there's no point. What's the point?
Anderson .Paak on that is sick as well.
And well, this guy,
he's never not sick, is he?
To be honest, he's one of my favourite sort of musical composers at the moment, and has been for a couple of years. I think he's
so good.
Nobody can build a song like him. he's got this really unique way of making things unbelievably epic.
And his voice is so good. Did you catch the Neverland bar on him? Yeah. It took me a couple listens to get that. No, go on.
Yeah, no, go on.
I was getting the De La Soul bar as well. Don't know if you caught that one. He says, "I'm a true warrior, got the plug like Trugoy," and then he says, because they would call themselves Plug 1 and Plug 2. So it's like, "I've got the plug like Trugoy. Give me the cue like I'm schoolboy, and I'll treat the beat like a pit bull would do to a true toy and destroy it." Because boy, I fucking love that shit.
Yeah,
man.
it's.
I guess we hyped.
He's amazing. I do like what Eminem does later on in the album as well.
Also, Never Love Again. Did we talk about that? Or you lumped it in, didn't you?
I lumped it in. I mean,
did you understand that song? Did you understand what he was talking about?
To be honest, this felt like a bit of a long album, so I did always find my attention just tuning out at this point.
That's something I was going to talk about, but I was going to wait until the end of your thing. But
all right, cool.
I'll save it for then. Yeah.
Let's save it for them.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Lock It Up. Yeah, so I really did like that one. Farewell does me in. I can't do it. I don't like it.
I was thinking you were going to say, "Oh, I really like it." I'm like,
it's the singing.
Nope.
It's the singing. I can't get past it. It's not good. It's not a good song, and doesn't belong on this album.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. I don't know what you're thinking. That beat could have gone to someone else, and they would have done so much better. Not that they would have like rapped better, but they would have made a better song out of it.
Give it to Denzel Curry or somebody. Give it to someone
would
like
have killed that shit.
Absolutely.
Tiger even would have made a good like club hit out of that at least. You know, it's like it wasted on someone like Eminem.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like it's
not.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. No regrets, man.
Yeah.
Right, it's good shit, man. Because the guy, what's his name? Don Toliver. Toliver.
Yeah.
I can't even read one.
Trying to make it French again. Don Toliver.
Oh, Louis.
They're not all like that.
Akon vibes, man. Like it's really, really cool.
Oh shit, yeah. I didn't put
yeah,
that
man.
Makes sense, yeah.
And one of the standout lyric for me is when Eminem said, "You used to be in my corner, now you back me into one." That is the motif for the whole. That is this whole album. Right now, this is not a happy man.
No,
at all. I don't care what you say. Eminem has all the riches and all the talent and all of that. He is
that doesn't
not
change
happy.
Anything. He's still the same guy, just in a big
Which
house.
Is sad.
He's by himself. He's isolated. Yeah, because I wonder what his life is like. He can't go anywhere. Maybe that's why he stays in Detroit, because you hardly ever see him get like snapped by paparazzi.
Yeah.
And he said it in an interview. He was like, I find it hilarious that people think that I don't go out and do stuff, that I'm just in my house all the time. He's like, I do go and do stuff. I just take precautions, because that way no one knows that I'm going to this place, I'm going to that place. I have to buy out the entire movie kind of theater and to go watch a movie like with some of my friends, that kind of thing. I just move in kind of silence. But I think if he moved and lived somewhere like LA, it would be much harder for him to not get snapped just going out.
Exactly. Everyone
maybe
would
that
be on
explains
him.
It. Yeah, especially someone of his caliber. Like he's almost like he's definitely one of those people that you just. He dresses so normal, and yet somehow it's become his style, and it's unfortunately for him become iconic of him. So he can't just walk anywhere just looking like a normal man with like a cap and a hood and stuff like that, because people be like, "That's Eminem."
Yeah, they recognize him.
Sake. Yeah. Maybe during the pandemic, actually, that was probably the best time for him, because I don't know if you've seen one of his latest music videos where he's wearing a mask and everything. At one point when he goes out, he just looks like very normal, just
human being.
guy.
But the thing is, you know Marshall Mathers, okay? But
I guess you look into his eyes and be like, that's you.
Straight up, you know the murderous blue eyes. I will with Royce the 5'9", King Crooked, and Joel Ortiz. Right, first time I listened to this, I was like, I know all of these guys. I knew who it was like straight away, and I was like, yeah, cool. All right, 3/4 of the Slaughters on it. All right, let's do this. There is a lot of esoteric shite on this. Like, this is, I needed to go deep. I think we could do an episode just on this one tune, because there are so many double and triple entendres that I am sure I've missed. It's just an absolute, it's a slaughter. That's what this song is. It is literally just
from the boys at the slaughterhouse. Like, this guy.
That's exactly it.
I mean, did you catch what Royce said? Sacha Baron Cohen. Beryl, where am I going with this? Oh yeah, I bar at will. For those listening, I bore at will. I bar at will. Sacha Baron Cohen, Beryl, Will. Yeah. Like, come on, man. How are you doing this sort of shit?
I don't know.
The line before, like, what makes you think of that?
I don't know.
Sacha Baron Cohen, Beryl. Where am I going with this? Oh yeah, I bar at will. Like, just, and even the way he delivers it, it's just, fuck, man.
It's just with the utmost confidence, right? Like, I find that his wordplay is next level, right? Joel Ortiz, the more I listen to him, the more I just like, he's kind of like, have you seen is it Goodfellas? Yeah, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So do you know the big guy, Paulie?
Yeah.
That's who Joel Ortiz is, the Paulie, because he's not messing around. He's just business, straight to business. Hey, Paulie, get the bill. Paulie will get the bill. Don't worry about that. Paulie, get the body. Paulie's gonna get the body.
Paulie will go and do it. Joel will come and clean up.
Joel is the equivalent of that. He's just straight to business.
You caught the Optimus Prime line.
Of course I did. Yeah.
I'm Optimus. I make prime examples of mini Tonkas. Fucking sick.
So I was a little. When I heard that, I was, a little bit of pee came out. I was so happy. But, yeah, man. But there's a couple of what Eminem says, and this is after like lots and lots of brilliant delivery. But I love the way he says, "I need a visor. You're just suns in my eyes." I mean, yeah.
Can you repeat that? Because it
did it cut out? He said. Yeah. He says, "I need a visor. You're just suns in my eyes."
You're just suns in my eyes. What's he say? He's like, "Rest of these youngins of mine, time to start throwing some shade.
Yeah,
it's time I'm shutting the blinds, because when I'm looking at your shit, it's no wonder it's why. Yeah, I need a visor, because y'all are just suns in my eyes." Like, yeah, I'm just like, how? For like 4 lines, you've connected it all in.
Yeah, exactly. The wordplay is just unbelievable.
Yeah, so good, man. And the Lord Jamar thing, like. Yeah, and the Wu-Tang thing at the beginning.
Yeah, and the homage to Rakim and Run DMC when he's saying about rap, like, it's not mine.
Oh yeah,
it's sort of like everybody's, and then he's just like, look, if you want to compare to the greatest, these guys will have you cleaning like the toilets and stuff.
And it's just,
it's like, yeah, that is amazing. Like, well played, and it's quite cool that we've been speaking about Rakim. In the last few episodes, like, the problem is, and track 20 is the outro, right? If you've been murdered, then good for you and good night. If you haven't,
next time.
Better luck next time. So when it comes to this album, it left me a bit cold. I'm not gonna lie. The reason is because I've been there since near enough the start. I've been there since Slim Shady LP. Like, this is 21 years in the making for me. Like, I've been on the ride. I remember when Eminem was counterculture. Now he is the culture. Now now he is it. So he's the thing that he used to fight against. Like, the stuff that he used to pull and rap about. He always used to take the piss out of the Britneys and the Christina Aguileras and the Justin Timberlakes and all of these guys.
For sure.
And now he's the OG, giving the seal of approval to new rappers. And if I get a mention, even if it's like on a diss track and all that, like, I've pretty much made it. It's whether the whole Machine Gun Kelly thing is artificial or real, who knows? Really, who cares?
I mean, he had a few lines about him on this album as well, like,
it's like, why are you? But he even says it himself on, I can't remember what song, but he's like, I don't know why. I could have written 1,000 lines about you, but I decided not to, basically, in response to whatever diss track you put out. And,
I think that was on No Regrets. I think it's like
that's it, yeah.
It's like dropping a nuke bomb on top of an anthill. or something like that. Like, there's no
Man,
point.
you know exactly the bits as well. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah, well,
it.
I mean, yeah, I'm like, it's no surprise to anyone. I'm a huge Eminem fan, so like, you know, but I don't know if you caught it in that song as well, because I don't know how much you keep up to date with what kind of happens with him in terms of like things in the culture and stuff. But like, I had to have a beef with him as well, and that was just so embarrassing. He fired like 3 diss tracks at him, and even had other MCs on them, and M just didn't reply at all. And it was just embarrassing. And it's like, because he's just not usually I'm like, nah, you should reply, right? I hate this whole kind of, I'm just not going to reply because then that makes me the winner by default. Like, nah, man, if your opponent's good enough, then you need to reply. But Nick Cannon is nowhere, like, he's like Z-list, right? In terms of like credible MCs. Yeah. He had this lyric on there where he says, and with MGK, because MGK replied to him from his Kamikaze disc, and then M replied with Kill Shot. So on this song, he said, I thought it was a pretty cool bar. He said, so some opponents will get the kill shot, some I just barely nicked them, right? So because Nick, he only threw one jab at him on the Fat Joe song verse that he did, which has this amazing line on it, which was full quit. You're not going. What's he say about to Nick? He goes, full quit. You're not going to do shit. I watch her chop my balls off too if I lost to you, Nick, as in you, Nick, but you, Nick. Like, I was like, how do you fucking think of this shit? That's a little jab. That's a little jab. He didn't even devote the rest of the verse to him. Yeah. Right. So that's what he's like, some I just barely nicked them. He knows that I know that you're coming for me. I can, you're like this little annoying pest in the corner.
Yeah. You're like a little brother who I'm like 15 years older than. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've kind of pushed you out of the way without even looking at you. Right.
Yeah.
This guy here is a bit more annoying. So I've given him the kill shot just to get him out of the way. Right. He's just like MGK.
Why would you even go up against Eminem? Like, I wouldn't. I've known him for years, but I suppose if you're the king
of an MC, you are. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, I think there are only a few people that could go toe to toe with Eminem. Obviously, Royce is one of them.
Yeah, I hope they never beef, but if they did, it would be like it would be an easy win. Like,
it would be a titanic battle of. It's like Zeus versus, I don't know, Jupiter. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Greeks, gods versus Romans. Like, who's going to win? Yeah. Like, they're essentially the same.
I wish Joe Budden replied to him. I would have loved to have seen an actual kind of back and forth between lyricists like that. On someone on Eminem's actual level. Not Ja Rule, not anyone like that. Someone like Joe, people always credit like Eminem for like, oh, he destroyed Ja Rule's career, and I'm like, yeah. Also, 50 Cent did that, and also
Ja Rule did that himself.
And Ja Rule did that himself.
Yeah, did himself.
Like, he's not a very worthy opponent, And if we're talking about that Kamikaze album where he went at like the mumble rappers and things like that, they're easy opponents. They're like, and a lot of them.
It's easy. Yeah.
A lot of them don't care about that kind of thing. A lot of them, like Lil Yachty and Lil Pump and them, they went on Twitter and they were like, "Raw, I got an Eminem shout out." They were gassed that they got mentioned. They're not going to be replying to him or anything like that.
Well, because they know they got murdered.
Exactly. They're not in the arena like that. But Joe Budden, and he replied, that could have been a weighty kind of. That wouldn't have been a straight up. Oh, Eminem would have destroyed Joe Budden. It would have been like, I wonder who's got who on this one, man. Because Killshot, the MGK diss, that was easy. You could tell M sounded like he didn't even care. And yet he was coming out with these stellar fucking lines. Line after line, he took the 8 Mile approach, right? Of course, that's his movie, right?
Well, battle rap, yeah, man.
Yeah, and he grew up in that scene where he just took everything MGK gave to him and replied to every single point. And just destroyed him. What is it? It's like, there's so many good lines on that song as well. Like where he's like, you can fuck him in my flannel because if I'm shady, you can have to live in my shadow. And it's just like things like that. And it's like, and his flow on that is so smooth and the beat, I wish his whole albums were like that, man. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
but this is the thing. Yeah, I find that this, like, especially with this album,
it's not a very well structured album.
It's not very well
it's
structured.
bloated.
And there's a lot of chaff you could get rid of on this album. I don't think it needs to be 20 songs. I was really, to be honest, man, I was really looking forward to listening to an Eminem album and feeling that old feeling again.
Sure.
I maybe felt it once, like glimpses, maybe twice. Right? There's glimpses of it. The magic for me is gone.
Sure.
Do you know, the last time I felt the magic, like, properly, Marshall Mathers LP 2, and that's probably because it was called Marshall Mathers LP 2,
so
right?
It was like harkening back to that, right?
Yeah, but then it had the feelings. There were like motifs and feelings of the Marshall Mathers LP 1, and I mean, dude, trying to pick 5 songs out of this that I like frick. Well, okay, You Go and Learn only because of Royce though. Because
really, I thought M's verse was fucking incredible.
It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I just identified a lot more with what Royce was saying.
Oh yeah, and in that short space that he had as well, beautifully concise.
It's brilliant. But yeah, like the thing is as well. Like, don't get me wrong. Eminem is a master lyricist. He's up there.
Yeah,
quite possibly the greatest of all time. I'm not throwing any shade on, his ability to rhyme or rap or anything like that. It is top tier stuff. But when we're talking about albums and say the craftsmanship of an album and a concept, a unifying concept, there isn't one. And I think it's scattered, and I think it's representative of his mental state really at the moment. The problem with that though is that there is genius on every single song. In everything, there's genius everywhere. But
that makes it more frustrating, right?
It's not focused. It's not lasered in, and unfortunately, you get an album like this. It's just not, mate.
Yeah.
So
mate, give it what you need to give it, because I understand.
The thing is, I think it could get better with time, though, bro. I think I need to sit with this.
Time for me,
so. I need to sit with this because a week isn't long enough. I need to sit with it and maybe come back to it soon and try and listen again. And I'm sure there is so much content on here. I'm sure I'll latch on to something else. Like it's weighty. So okay, cool. So You Gon' Learn. Darkness.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, just honestly, that gave me chills. Okay, I couldn't believe it.
I would tell everyone to listen to that.
Yeah, it's Eminem at his best. Stepdad, because that's, hello, my old friend. I remember you. Even
with that bar on it, it's euthanasia, like kids in Taiwan.
Youth in Asia. It's just amazing.
I can't believe he said that shit, man. I was like, on a song like this? Come on.
No regrets, and I will. There you go.
Interesting.
And I will give this album. Oh, mate. Dare I give an? I can't give it.
Give it as low as you want.
It's a 6.5, mate.
I knew it. For some reason, I don't know why that was popping into my head.
Yeah, I think you threw it into my head.
Yeah, maybe actually.
You just threw that in my head.
Could be linked to the esoteric thing,
Osmosis. Yeah, man.
Shit.
Whoa.
We were talking about earlier. We talked about Never Love Again, and I said I'll bring it up at the end, and then you were saying it's how you felt about that personified kind of the whole album. I think I remember what it was. But that song, Darkness was like a double entendre the whole way through. Never Love Again was a double entendre the whole way through as well. He's talking about his pill addiction throughout the whole song. So if you go back and re-listen to it in the same way as if you re-listen to Darkness, with the lens of him talking to the drug as opposed to a woman, it makes much, much more sense.
Okay, sir.
Now that's the problem. That leads to the problem about
fuck's sake.
the placement in the album and the album as a whole. Because like you said, it's too long. It's too much and it's too bloated. And with this whole Alfred's theme thing that he had those like skits in there, in 4 songs out of 20?
I think
2
so,
of them
yeah.
interludes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a little engine at the beginning, he has a bit snippet of his voice. Come on, man. If you're gonna the album cover looks like the original Alfred Hitchcock album cover.
Yeah.
The original Alfred Hitchcock album was called Music to Be Murdered By. So he's kind of doing a homage to that. But this is the thing for me, was like, what's funny is that I remember when Revival came out and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've been waiting since Marshall Mathers LP2, that was 4 years. And then suddenly I sit down and I'm sitting down to listen to Revival, all that hype. And my days, like, I find it surprising that he still defends that album, because the album hasn't aged well for me. I even thought, oh, maybe it might be a sleeper. Maybe in a few years' time, I might look back on it and be like, maybe
it's just not. No.
I hate to say it, but
he's on the downward now. And
I don't know about that though. I think he's on a bit of an up and down, right? Because after Revival, Kamikaze to me felt like a return to form. Have you heard Kamikaze?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Again,
I bang that so often.
There are lots and lots of okay. So when I say that like he's on the way down, I should have qualified it with in regards to the last album. It's like, this is a significant step down for me. Right. Sorry, I should have qualified that.
Oh, you mean like when Revival came out?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's exactly how I felt as well.
The thing is,
like, fuck, man.
So Eminem, right? If I'm gonna, this is it. I've got 2 analogies basically, right? And I don't know how well the first one's going to go over, but so it's a football reference, even though even though people might not like listen, but it basically, like, in your team you get like midfielders, and like these guys basically can attack and defend and do all the dirty work, right? And they're the engine, right? And basically you get the term midfield workhorse, so a hard-working person who does whatever the team needs, right? And is competent. I feel that Eminem is basically that at the moment. He's basically like doing a hell of a lot of work. He's able to put these complex songs together, but he's lost the ability to be like a striker on the football pitch, who, with a little bit of genius and a little bit of skill, manages to open up enough space to score the goal and get the glory and the lights and the accolades and all of that stuff. Eminem used to be that guy, and he seems to have dropped back. And I feel that he's got all the tools, the fast flow, the unbelievable, like double, triple, quadruple entendres, the amazing wordplay, the intricate rhyme schemes. I mean, he's got it all. But the thing is, it just doesn't land. For me, it's just like he's working hard, and it's you can tell he's a complete genius. Like, yeah, absolutely. But he doesn't do the kill shots anymore. He doesn't score the goals. And I think this leads into my second sort of bad analogy, but it's like a film where, I don't know if you've seen Star Wars Rogue One.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So the main character is Felicity Jones and Diego Luna, right? They're the main characters. But the thing is, I found that I cared more about Donnie Yen and his mate with the big old gun, Baze Malbus. I think that's his name.
Yeah, and I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And the blind guy who's like, the force is with me, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I cared more about them two than I did for the main characters. And this is very much what I feel about the Eminem, this album. I cared more about Young M.A., Royce, Joel Ortiz, Black Thought. I cared so much that they were on it, but I didn't care about the main character. I didn't care about the main attraction of the album, Eminem himself. It's because, and this is my third and final point, it's because I think I'm fatigued. I'm tired of Eminem. I think it's time for a new voice. And that's where I'm at.
That's why I want him to break out of this kind of bubble that he's in, because this is the thing, like, I can pinpoint, I think, 2 moments, or maybe 3 2 moments that potentially ruined him, right, or potentially led to this kind of downfall. So one, I mean, you could talk about his drug overdose and stuff, because like Encore was not a great album in hindsight, right? But you can almost excuse him for that because he had a heavy addiction then. A lot of the album leaked online as well, and he got pissed and he just threw random like stupid songs on there. And some people have called it like a purposeful like career suicide, right, where he did it on purpose, and that's why he, like, in the skit at the end of the album, he kills himself like on stage.
Yeah,
kind of like, this, you can take this piece of shit, I'm done with this, right? And it's almost like he did it on purpose. And then he released like that curtain call greatest hits where he put this song Fack on there, which was like the first song. So if you don't know Eminem, and then the first song you listen to his greatest hits, and then the first song you hear was that bullshit, like,
yeah,
he knew what he was doing. It felt like he knew what he was doing with that. But so yeah, barring that, I think when he dropped Relapsed, which I think was a great album, all produced, you know, that's how it was before, right? Dr. Dre had a huge hand in a lot of his musicality and stuff. That album, he just did his own thing. He did what he was doing, and that's aged so well. There are people now that were like, wow, that album's like, can't believe so many people trashed it back when it came out.
Yep.
I think that's where the problem was. All you lot that trashed Relapse when it came out, are the reason Eminem is like he is now. Because I think what the problem was is then he thought, fuck, okay, so people don't want this. So then he went the recovery route with all the big stadium anthems and stuff. And like we said before, he got all these new fans, and now he's trying to cater to all these different people.
He's lost himself,
Yeah, and I think he was listening to like the Lil Waynes and stuff at the time, who had all the punchline rap was heavy at that time. And that's why he does that all the time. Because if you listen back to his old stuff, it wasn't that heavy on the punchline wordplay stuff or the super, super intricate flows. It was a lot of it was just him, right? Yes, he had all of that, and that's what made him incredible. But also it was him and his life story that he had at that time, you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? He had that kind of rage and that kind of passion. And it's like, if that's starting to wane for you now, you need to find another avenue.
Step away. I addressed it earlier on, man. He was counterculture. Then he became, the problem is he became the culture. He became one of the best at it. And the thing is, I think it's quite funny, isn't it? Nearly 20 years on, but like he released that song Lose Yourself, and he's lost himself. Like, I think
he really has. It feels like it's either he's doing this just for his fans, like his hardcore fans, and he truly doesn't care about anyone else really, and he's just doing it for that, or this is the thing. The second thing I think that kind of really led to him on this kind of this kind of wave of inconsistency is that he dropped Revival after that, which was just, I think, again, he tried something new with Revival. He tried to actually, because in hindsight, when I listen, if I go back to it, I'm thinking, okay, this is actually way more kind of, we always knew Eminem for being personal and stuff like that, but this was way more kind of an attempt at being more politically kind of open-minded and to things or whatever. We're talking about this stuff and being a bit more kind of, he's talking more about his daughters and what happened when he did overdose and how he felt when he thought he was like seconds close to dying. And, you know, he had a lot of those kind of songs and reflecting back on his childhood with Proof and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he had a lot of that on that album. It's just musically, it didn't land. It didn't come off right. It just wasn't well put together. And I think, unfortunately, his attempt to try something new and maybe go into this new kind of tier of his career where he's being a bit more grown man, doing the 444 thing like Jay-Z did.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he almost tried to do that. He didn't execute. And again, similar to Relapse, he saw the backlash to that and went full the opposite direction. Kamikaze was great. Yes, it felt like a raw mixtape of you just getting some beats and just rapping the fuck out of them, and that's sick. Especially someone like me, I love that sort of shit. Now, it's like, okay, what am I going to do for the next album though? You know, that gave me the fuel for Kamikaze. What am I going to do for the next one?
Exactly.
I was surprised when I heard this, and I mean, obviously it was a surprise drop, right? I was surprised when the first song, I was like, it's still, why is he still going at the critics? I love the song, I think it bangs, but
yeah,
why are you still going at the critics, and why are you still defending Revival? You know, when he's like, you know, they want me to you know, they claim I have nothing to say, but then when I put out Revival and I had something to say, they say that they hate it. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's for that reason. I think it's because you had something to say, you just didn't execute it well enough. You know, you tried to over pander to everyone, you know, like this album. And this is the thing, Revival, I felt like was just trash. A lot of it, like I really didn't like a lot of it, right? This one, even the songs that I don't think fit the album, like the theme, I thought the production on here was so much better than stuff that he's had recently, in terms of even just how it's put together. It's like the biggest Eminem album I've heard in recent times, like in terms of its production value, right? And so some of those songs, like In Too Deep, for example, I'm like, what is it with all these relationship songs, man? But that one, for some reason, I was like, it's really grown on me. And I'm like, okay, this feels a bit different to the other ones. And maybe it's because you're a bit more focused on this one about a particular type of kind of relationship you're getting into, where you're with someone, she's with someone, and you can't tell that you're cheating on, if you're cheating on your wife with her, or if you're cheating on
her with your wife. Yeah.
Wife, you know, that's an interesting perspective to take. And, you know, so there's that. Yeah, one of those kind of nights is more fun, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, those songs are kind of cool. And, oh, man, this guy really fucking hates his dad. Like, in that third verse of Leaving Heaven, when he talks about, like, his dad died, but he's like, you know,
I'll see you in hell. Like, I wish I could dig you up. And
yeah, I'm annoyed that I couldn't tell you to your face how much I hated you, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a kind of a heartbreaking kind of lyric in there when he's talking about, you know, where the fuck were you at when D'Angelo done hurt me real bad at the Rio Grande, you know? Like that song Brain Damage from the Slim Shady LP, where he's talking about getting beaten up, you know, way before my baby daughter Haley, I was beat up daily by this kid named D'Angelo Bailey or something like that, right? He's referring to that guy, and he's like, he's bringing it kind of full circle, like, where the fuck were you? What, you expect me to suddenly feel a certain way? And but the problem with that song is, why was he chopping it up? Like, why was he rapping like that? Why was he doing it? Flies buzzing over my head and my fucking shoulder, like I'm and if you're gonna create an emotional song like that, I think you need to attack it a bit more smoothly. You need to make sure the lyrics hit and land. You know, I don't want to hear all this technical rap shit. Save that for the songs where you're on with Black Thought and Royce and them, you know, not on this. Like, I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying.
Because look, man, it's because he's a midfield workhorse. That's just what he is. He's doing the work. That's all he is. But it's not really coming off. It's a shame. It's a real shame, bro. I think
this song. Sorry. What did I say? I threw myself off there. This album. Sorry, I was going to say I think this album could have been so much shorter.
Give me 14 songs. I think it would have been better.
Bro, even 13, yeah? I think if you kept the first 3 and then the Alfred interlude, cut out the next 2, even though I actually like the Ed Sheeran song, right?
Get it I like the
that one grew on me, especially that line where he's like, go, what's in the cup? Let me see that. Go, where the rest of that promethazine that? She said, cool, got to run out to my Cadillac though, and I'll be like Fat Joe and bring the lean back. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I did.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, like
no, but I don't even mind those kind of nights. Like,
it's okay.
It's cheeky.
It's not too offensively. How you referred to it last time with Ed Sheeran. It's like, it's not too offensive. Like his contribution to the song.
Yeah, man, it's chewing gum, isn't it? It's just
but I think you could have taken those 2 songs off. You could have taken off Those Kind of Nights and In Too Deep. Just go straight into Godzilla, right? After that interlude, just have that woman saying, "Oh, you're a monster." That fits into the whole Alfred thing before that. Just go into that zany sort of shit, then go into Darkness, as you said, because you've added another layer to that for me.
You would peak too early though, I think. If Darkness needs to be in the middle of the album, doesn't it? Like,
okay, so maybe you could put that for me. So like, okay, yeah, maybe
towards the end. I mean, because dude,
I don't know. For me, I think it would have kept them. If I was like the executive producer and he told me these are all the tracks I have, and it's like, because he said in an interview as well that he had other songs that he wanted to put in to make it intertwine with the theme. but he couldn't get the samples cleared, and that made me even more frustrated. Like, why did you didn't have to add these other songs? You didn't have to make it 20 songs. What about the songs that you just had, right? Or maybe I wouldn't have mind waiting. I didn't even know this album was coming. You surprise dropped it. You could have waited for the samples to get cleared and I'd rather have waited and you had made, if you were going to make a 20-song album, but all the songs fit with the dark Alfred Hitchcock theme, that would have been great. You know, add more of him talking throughout the songs and, you know, tie it in, you know, make it like a real kind of experience, because then a long album would suit that. But why am I hearing Ed Sheeran on an album called Music after the Alfred interlude, right? Those first 3 songs set me up so nicely.
Yeah,
right.
For real.
Why am I hearing that? Right? Like, I think after Darkness, see, and this is the thing, I would have taken off Leaving Heaven as well, unless he re-recorded that and rewrote it. Like the way he approached it, I would have taken that off 100%.
It's not the greatest. It's not like the greatest vocal hook. It's very, very basic and on the nose. It doesn't.
It's a bit too on the nose, yeah.
Yeah. It's really like you're trying to make it a bit of an anthem or whatever. It's a bit corny, mate.
It's a little bit corny, yeah.
The thing is, though, the subject matter is flipping heavy, especially after Darkness. You need the lyrics of this song to come after Darkness.
Yes. Oh, see, I'm trying to just work with, let's say, what if this is just what if you're the project manager,
yeah. Sorry, man.
No, I get you, because if I had it my way, if I had that clout, if I had that relationship with Eminem where I could, you know, he trusts me and I could get to him on a level, I would say to him, look, the content of this song is great. Maybe we need to make something else or make a few more things. Let's see, maybe we can work on that part because I like the content. We just need to execute it a little bit better, right? That's what I would say. I would keep Ya Ya. I would go into Ya Ya after that because, you know, the posse cut. I love that song as it is, so I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
I actually would take out Stepdad and the Stepdad intro. Although
it's dark as hell. Yeah.
It's dark, but you know that beat as well is produced by Alchemist. And I
didn't know that.
I've been gunning for an Alchemist Eminem collaboration. And again, maybe it's an expectation thing, but I heard this and I was like, this is what I get. Like your Eminem's, like, Alchemist is your DJ. He goes on tour with you all the time. Surely you are hearing the beats that he's making and you're hearing the projects he's making with people like Freddie Gibbs and Conway and all these people. Surely you're hearing this stuff, Em. Surely. And this is what comes out?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to hear this euthanasia, like Kids in Taiwan, on an Alchemist beat. Like, this is the thing. This doesn't feel like this was based on a true story or anything like that to me. It's too zany for that kind of topic. It sounds too... It's not like how back in the day when, on like Brain Damage, we mentioned that song from Slim Shady LP where he talks about, you know, she threw this thing on my, she hit my head with a bowl and I tripped and fell. My whole brain fell out of my skull. Like, obviously that didn't actually happen like that. But in the context of the song, it all paints this really kind of, what's the word you use? Cerebral kind of picture, right? This really clear picture under a kind of zany lens. And, you know, that was based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
This just sounds like it's just trying to, it's like almost like he's just trying to put in content. He's trying to fill in content because someone told him he had to make 20 songs for the album. Like, why, man? Like, why? You know, I'd rather have no Alchemist collabo and not, you know, than have this. Like, I'm sorry, I just really dislike this song, man. Like,
fair enough.
It could be an expectation thing. It could be because I know it's produced by Alchemist. I tried so hard to like it, but I'm just like, nah, man. Marsh, though, I would just go straight into that. Fucking love that song. Like, that's my...
Yeah, it's good.
That's my rapper song. Like, I want something to spar. Like, when I'm kind of emceeing to myself, keep myself sharp, I play that so often. Like, even just the way it just jumps straight in, all the different flows that he has on there, and just like, you know, treat you like a step-parent does to a stepchild with red hair, plus I get dough like Ed Sheeran, so call me the gingerbread man. I'm a stan of Redman, X-Clan, and I'm a Tretch fan. Like, just the way he's like floating over that beat like that and switching it up with the flows and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, that's for me. But Never Love Again, that's a Dr. Dre beat, and I love that switch up as well, and knowing that it's about his addiction kind of adds that other layer for me.
That does indeed.
Yeah, Little Engine's kind of meh. Lock It Up, I love that song.
Get in the bin. Little Engine.
It's like I don't need it, right? Lock It Up, fucking amazing. It's one of the best Eminem songs of recent I've heard.
Yeah,
right? That's a great pairing. No Regrets is cool, even though he's slyly not apologizing for saying he shouldn't have gone at Earl Sweatshirt and Tyler the Creator.
Who cares? Like, yeah,
it's like on a song called No Regrets. Like that's a
regret.
That's very close. You're very shy of a regret right there, right? But yeah, I will. Yeah.
Look, I mean, he's done lots and lots of content and stuff, and like we can allow him for not being, sort of internally consistent just for once, I guess. But
yeah,
like,
I think had contradictions in it.
I think that speaks to where he is. Like, honestly, mentally, this album just it sort of speaks to a sort of fragmented kind of personality. Like, it's just not the Eminem that I remember, and that's the thing. Yeah. For me, KD, like, I don't think when he drops his next album, I'm probably not going to hear about it for a long time. Like, Eminem drops an album, cool. I'm not going to listen to it.
Oh, it's like off the train like that.
Yeah, when I say that I'm off the train, I'm fatigued. I've been there. I've been there.
He needs to evolve a bit more, He
either needs to evolve or sod off, because there are other voices that need to be heard. Like, you don't need to dominate anymore. Like, you're in history now. That's it. People should study you. Like, okay, so go right off into the sunset. I'm not saying that older people can't rap, but
of course,
De La Soul, Jay-Z, flipping Rakim, Black Thought's been doing it like 20-25 years. Busta Rhymes, come on, I'm not saying that older guys can't do it. Of course they can. But Eminem, just give it a rest.
See, it's the thing. I go back and forth on this because I'm like,
he's got to go.
If he does his thing, right? I think for me, it's like when people say, "Oh, Eminem should just," or any artist, "Oh, they should just retire now," or "They should just stop now." I'm just like, just don't listen to their music, bro. Just ignore it. It has no bearing on you, right? But I think for someone like Eminem, you made a good point where you said he doesn't have to dominate anymore. I think the problem is that unfortunately when he drops, he does crazy numbers off the bat because he's got this crazy fan base. He's got a crazy name for people outside of hip hop as well, who,
Absolutely.
I don't like hip hop. I love Eminem though. You that guy though. You have loads of people like that.
Yeah, true.
So I guess maybe his name comes up and you're kind of forced to have to kind of see him all the time. So I guess maybe that's what sparks the conversation where people are like, man, maybe you should just step away. But for me, I understand from an artist perspective how he might feel like he
never wants to, maybe.
Yeah, I think he clearly loves this shit to death. And he said in a recent interview that he's less about kind of going on tour and doing that stuff. He just really enjoys what he does. He just wants to give his all. Like, that's why he even dropped the side B with like 14 or something new songs, right? And I can't tell which one I like better out of the two, this one or that one, because on that one he just does sound like he's having fun. Like on the second one, the side B one, it's like I don't take it too seriously, like the things that he's saying and stuff like that. We know he can rap, he can do all this stuff. It's cool. It's like, but maybe just a little bit more, a little bit of evolution. If you're gonna stay in here, less of the dad jokes, less of the kind of corny lines. Like,
yeah, but you can't say that because it's the amount of. Just think how many words he has written in this album.
Yeah,
it's thousands. Well. It's thousands. Like, he's not going to be. He's not going to be able to sort of stop the puns or the shit jokes or whatever like that. Like, what I mean? He's a content machine.
Yeah, he's Eminem, so he plays around, he has fun, and he says stupid things. I think people have accidentally fallen into this trap where they think he's a serious guy now. because back in the day it was like this good blend of like serious stuff, but then he would switch into character and do all this like really zany, crazy shit. And
like where is Slim Shady? Like, because we all miss that guy. Where's Slim Shady at? Because the last time that I really sort of paid attention to Slim Shady was Marshall Mathers LP2. Like you could hear Slim Shady was in there
at the end of that album, though, on Evil Twin, when he says, we are the same.
Yeah, I know.
He kind of said that, and I was like, oh shit, like is that really what you're gonna end on, like that? Like, I thought a great part of that was you having the alter ego where you can just kind of hold up a mirror to everyone and be like, look, there's a Slim Shady in all of us, because he would say that, right?
I'm the bad guy who makes fun of people that die.
Yeah, I'm the bad guy who makes fun of people that die. Or have plane crashes, as long as it ain't happened to him. That used to make me laugh so much. Like, you're like that dickhead who's like, I'll make fun of all of you fuckers until you start doing that shit to me. And weirdly, it's almost become kind of true in a sense, because now he's a bit sensitive to the criticism and stuff, and he fires back at it a lot. Yeah,
which is because where he started from, he wore it. He was just like, I don't care. People love me anyway.
Yeah, his I don't give a fuck persona is not. I'm pretty sure personality in behind the music, he did care, because
maybe
I think he was that kind of person. I don't think he personified behind closed doors that I don't give a fuck attitude as much as he might have tried to make people think. I think that was all a persona. The Infinite CD, he got told that the songs were too soft. He sounds like AZ and Nas, and that's what caused him to kind of lash out. He's always been very reactionary. That's it.
Yeah,
that's
fair enough.
Right? But the problem is now is that I don't give a fuck persona is leaving the music. It's like he's trying to stay under that lens, but it's like, I don't know. You're sounding a little bit defensive at times now. Like,
yeah, he does.
Let it go. Let the revival hate go. Let it, whatever, man. If you still stand behind that album, cool. That's your art. That's your piece. That's your work. But just keep moving forward. Just don't try and pander to everyone. He could have called this album like album number 10, whatever number it's on. Made it very generic, and that would have justified potentially why there's such a wide range of shit on here. Because then he could have been like, here's my 10th album. I'm a legacy artist now. You pick and choose what you want, right? Pick and choose what type of vibe you want from me. For my recovery fans, here's some shit. For my old school fans, here's this shit. But if you're going to call it music to be murdered by and pay homage to that,
I'm expecting I'm expecting a slaughter from start to finish. I'm expecting hard rhymes.
Bruv.
And it just wasn't that, dude. It just wasn't that. And
that's my issue with it. Because I enjoyed this album, but that's my main
issue. I enjoyed the album. No, I liked the album. It had very, very good high points. The highest point on there, told you. But it just leaves me cold. It's just left me cold, and I don't really care for it. And it is just one of those things, I'm not going to dictate, who should do what or whatever. Like, maybe you should stop. But I do think there is something in the fact that he needs to just stop clouding the water with, his juggernaut of the PR machine. Like, I really do think it's now time to sort of step away for a bit and then come back in a couple of years, man. Like, by all means, it'd be great.
Yeah.
We don't need another album like so soon. Drop an album in 2024 just randomly. Yeah. Do something like that, But
if you're gonna drop something soon, do like something like what Ghostface does. Ghostface has been able to create a consistent discography by not pandering, by not switching up too much. And he does, he did like the Bad Bad Not Good collabo. He did the 12 Reasons to Die thing with what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name? Oh no. Oh, what? David, you know what I'm talking about, right? The 12
Reasons exactly what you're talking about. I can see the blimmin' album cover.
Yeah, same. But what's the guy's name?
Hold on. I'll just
fuck. Adrian Young. That's it. I knew it started with an A. Adrian Young. That's it. Yeah, it's like he did things like that. He kind of just, he did these little projects where he wasn't taking them overly seriously. It was just kind of, okay, I'm just going to explore my creativity. Yeah. And he just makes good, consistent shit. It's like, I want that from you, Em. I want that.
We want him to be the best that he can be, and we all know that he's an absolute machine. Like we know that. But this is the point. But this is the point when it's not exceptional. He's set the bar so high he can't reach it anymore.
Yeah,
and that's the point. This is why I think he needs to go away and hone, and then come back and just be like, right, okay, cool. Like, I've seen all your crap. Like,
do you know what I want to do? Do you know what I want him to do next? Because he's dropped the music to be murdered by Side B, which is cool, right? It's just he seems like he was having fun with that, and that was cool. Look, I'm a big Eminem fan. I'm for some reason still very invested in him. So I give it, how when you're like a huge fan of someone, even if they drop something that you're like, that if you weren't a big fan, you might be a bit like you might be a bit cold on it. I'm a bit like, I still give it the time of day because I have this investment, because he's such a huge influence on me, and he's such a, I really look up to him, so I have this almost like this personal attachment. So it's like I'll give it a try still, and I pick out what certain things from it, like when I'm talking about the song Marsh and Unaccommodated is like an MC. I'm sure people probably guessed that by now listening to the show, that when I do my thing, that's a great blueprint.
Yeah, definitely.
To practice on. You go and learn Eminem's verse on that.
Wicked.
For me, when I like rap alongside that stuff, it keeps me. It's like part of my sparring, Yeah,
definitely.
Alongside a bunch of other artists, but someone like Eminem, it's like I wonder if I wasn't MCing or wasn't making music and stuff, I wonder if I would feel like you, where I would just treat it like him just as an artist who's been putting out music, and I might just be like, yeah, it's okay. I probably give it more of the time of day because of that attachment, and also I'm listening to it. Yeah, how people say MF Doom is like the rapper's rapper, so people who your favorite rapper is, idolizing Doom, there's like this level away. I feel like sometimes Eminem can be like that, where it's like for people who are really into like studying the way that the rhyme patterns are, and where you rap on beats and stuff like that. So for someone like me, it's like, I really get with that, but I understand. I can. It's weird because then I'll still sit here, and I wasn't expecting to rant about him, but I did, because there's still more. I'm still aware enough to know that, look, musically, I think you can just do so much better than this, right? And
so much better.
So much skill, like, and everything, that you can really utilize it for something else. Do you know what I want him to do? I want him to do a Bad Meets Evil 2, right? Lock in with Royce and fucking
just go and have it. Yeah, go and have it.
That's I think that's his arena right now. If you just want to rap, then do that shit. Collab, do with a Ghostface approach. Find someone to collab with, find a producer and do a one producer album with another MC who keeps you on your toes. Because some of the best songs on here was when he was with Royce or with another set of MCs, because he was on his toes,
Dude, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Think that's what he needs to do. I think link up with Clear Soul Forces, bruv. Get them on your shit. Get one of them. Get Novelist. Can you imagine? You're both from Detroit. Make that connection happen. Do
you know what? They'd be any of the four would do justice.
Yeah, man.
They might not hit as hard as Eminem, like in the way that their voices are. I guess they maybe
jarring.
Ilahid maybe is the closest to Eminem in terms of vocal register, but I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. That's fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could tell him this stuff. I wish I could just, I wish I could be in the room and be like, yo, just kind of
bell him up. Just be like, yo.
I was just thinking, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should get this guy. Maybe you should
collab
Primo
with. Oh, could you imagine? I was about to say Apollo Brown.
Mate, Apollo Brown would be fucking sick. But do you know? When I mentioned Primo, yeah.
Yeah.
On side B, the second album that he dropped, there's a song on there called Book of Rhymes. I saw the track list. I saw this song called Book of Rhymes featuring DJ Premier. And I'm like, fuck, man, I can't wait to listen to this.
Yeah.
Thinking it's going to be a DJ Premier beat. Tell me why, when that song came on, I liked the song though. Let's not get it twisted. After I got over this initial kind of disappointment, as soon as the song comes in, I'm hearing these like trap hi-hats and snares, like stuff like that, right? The beat it's a full-on trap beat, which is cool. Don't always hear Eminem on that kind of thing. He kills it. Cool, great. I was just like waiting. Maybe there's going to be a beat switch. Maybe Premier's on the beat switch. Nope. All it is at the end, he says, Primo, take us out. And Primo does the scratches. That's it. I couldn't believe that he fucking, what's the word? Like catfished us.
Wasted.
Like, oh, man. I was like, come on, man. It's like you're fucking with us at this point. Like,
yeah,
it's fully said featuring DJ Premier.
He hates his fans. I'm telling you.
This lines up with what you were saying. Yeah. Okay,
he hates his fans. He's not happy. Like, real talk. The more I think about it, the more I sit here, and the more I'm just like, actually, yeah, he doesn't care if he puts out garbage. He's going to make millions.
He says that on the new album when he says, I still get the bag even when I'm putting garbage out. It's almost like he's self-aware, like he knows.
Yeah, he knows it's shit.
And I'm like,
so
if you know, then what the fuck are you doing? Is this just a long, drawn-out career suicide so that you can like stop being famous? Like, is this what this whole thing is?
To be honest, I subscribe to this. If you ain't gonna try, I ain't gonna try either. So sod it.
Yeah,
like genuinely.
Enough,
no, I've been on the ride for 21 years now. You know what I mean? He was so, when I was growing up, like honestly, like 15, 16, 17, 18, Eminem was the guy.
Sure.
Okay, so I know, I've been there. I've been the fan. Yeah. I've been the guy that's learned every single song and knew every single lyric on albums worth. I've been there. But it's just not, it's just fatigue. And
yeah, man.
I really, I can always, I think I've got an ability of knowing when to give props to people and stuff. The thing is, Eminem's ability isn't the problem. It's the execution over the songs. It's the it's the point of focus.
Because he used to craft like really solid albums. It wasn't just he would just rap over beats. He would make really good albums.
Correct.
Even on this one, the songs like tie in sonically, like they'll blend into each other. There's no like random gaps and stuff. So that's still there, but that just feels like it's what's the word? Like that's just standard for him. And it's like it's not going to cover up a poorly kind of sequenced or poorly kind of put together concept. You can make all the songs blend into each other as nicely as you want, but that's not going to fool us into thinking, wow, this album's really kind of well put together, really conceptual. You're right. He's not got the whole package.
No, you don't.
Oh man, like we don't need long albums from you, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but like we don't need long albums. Just I don't know who he needs. Like if he needs someone for quality control, just be like 12 songs. That's it. What?
That boy needs Jesus.
Jesus needs to do your quality control and be like,
yo, just be a bit happy, because guess what? There's this thing called love and happiness, and you could get it if you really want it. Like you shouldn't be 47 and this cut up still. Like
I feel bad for him. I always wonder. I do. I always wonder like if he's just really isolated. But then again, he says that he's not like that. But then sometimes he is, and I'm just like, you haven't had the smoothest kind of life.
No, definitely not.
Even before fame, and then during fame, you didn't have the smoothest.
Dude, yeah.
Imagine if he died from his drug overdose. I think they said he was like 2 hours away. If they didn't get to him on time, he would have died. He would have gone up. He would have gone up as one of the greatest of all time alongside Tupac and Biggie, right? I mean, he's definitely still considered there. But the conversation is so weird now. I've seen the conversation shift now where there's so many people. Like Royce is having to be out here defending him. Like the culture is turning its back on Eminem a lot of the time.
I think so, yeah.
And it's sad to see, because this feels like the place where he took his solace in. And now the culture is turning on him. The culture always had his back, even when people were trying to cancel him before for his like homophobic lyrics and all that sort of stuff. But now it feels like the culture has turned its back on him as well.
It's because
he doesn't know what to do.
Because he's burned too many people too many times with just shit songs and albums, dude. Like this is what's happened. Like no. There comes a time you just got to let go at some point. And unfortunately, like Eminem, like for me anyway, I'm sure lots of people will disagree, but
he says that until I collapse, right? He says that on the Eminem show. He says, what's the actual lyric? I can't remember when he's like, something about knowing when to stop, right? Knowing when and when you know your run is
race is
run,
run,
knowing when your run is over. Yeah, when you know your run is over when it comes to its end, because I'm at the end of my wits with half the shit that gets in. It's like, knowing when your run is over, right? When it's at its end, just accept it. Obviously, you were like, what? Your perspective might have changed now. You're 28 back then. You're 47 now. Maybe you're thinking, nah, you know what? I want to keep
doing this for ages and dating Nicki Minaj or whatever that hell.
I would envy him if that's what he was doing, but it is what it is, man. I don't think that is what he's doing.
Well, wasn't there this whole thing that they were together? Oh, do you know what, dude? I don't pay attention.
No, she claimed that they would. I think she said it's a joke, and then they capitalized off that and did a song together. And then that was like a couple years ago, I think.
All right, fair enough. That's
I
how much
forgot that happened.
Oh, that's how much I care. So
yeah, I forgot that happened even because he's usually so like reclusive.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to be, right?
You have to be, yeah. Like, yeah, and that's probably why he's so like late to things. Like when he brings up certain things in his lyrics, and you're like, what? That was relevant a couple years ago. Why have you brought this up now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a shame that these conversations about someone like Eminem kind of end with this kind of feeling, because I hear it more often now, and I was kind of expecting it with this. I kind of threw this album into the ring, one, because you hadn't heard it, but also because I was like, I'm interested to kind of hear, because we've been praising Eminem every time we mention him, to then throw this into the ring and be like, well, what do we actually think of his current music? How does it actually hold up?
Does it hold up? And it doesn't.
Yeah, maybe if this was his first album and he was new on the scene, it'd be different.
Listen,
wow, this guy rap.
Yeah,
but
it's because he's old. And when I say old, as in like he's old news source. Right. As I said, it's the transition from star to superstar to stratosphere, right? So that's what's done him in time, and it's just time for new rappers, man. It's time for new people.
I guess, yeah. If I was M, I would just say get in a lane and just do it well and stick to it.
Yeah, so man. Give us EPs. Give us 4 or 5 songs EPs. Just give us that, because then you can do what you want.
Tapes.
Yeah, man.
Give us like one producer, one artist albums, and just kind of every now and then hit us with that. Don't worry too much about filling stadiums and making anthems for people. We've got all those. We've already got them. We don't need another one. We don't need any more of these. Just rap. That's what you do best. Just head into that arena. You've got all the connections. You're Eminem. You've got access to all the best producers, all the best MCs, all the young MCs who come up and idolize you and want to work with you and get on a track with you. Jump in, lock in with them. I don't need to hear another song with Rihanna. I don't want to hear another song with Skylar Grey. I don't need to hear, or if you are going to do that stuff, make it different. Make it an event. Don't want to hear the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Don't keep hitting us with the fast flows. We know you can do it. If you're going to hit us with the fast flows, do it like R.A. the Rugged Man does and actually say some shit in the lyrics when you do it, right? I know you can rhyme words.
R.A. the Rugged Man. What a rapper. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Fucking sick, man.
His voice is amazing.
Presence. It's like the personification of presence, right?
Listen, it's like an oak tree with honey like dripped all over it. It is.
How do you keep doing this, man? Like you did this for Rakim as well, and I was like, rah, that's exactly what it is. It's oak tree for R.A. the Rugged, but it's soaked in something because it's a bit gritty,
It's got like New
York edge.
Listen, his voice is, his cadence, his flow, like he is elite. I couldn't believe when I heard that album. Was it the year before last now, or was it last year? Before last.
All My Legends Are Dead last year.
Like it was summertime, and I was painting the outside of the house, and like I just had that on, and I thought my poor neighbours.
So good, man.
It's
innit?
I was blazing it. It's what an amazing album. We should cover
draw
that.
A parallel. We should definitely. I mean, I know we both heard it, but we should kind of.
We definitely. Yeah, it's top draw. I mean,
you can create a parallel between. I mean, they both dropped last year.
Yeah.
Both dropped long albums. They're both white. They're both old school. And so, and the reason I mentioned that they're white is because that automatically is an assumption that you have to like fight your way into the culture a little bit still. You still have to kind of prove yourself, because not just because, you're white, you can't rap, but also because of the whole cultural appropriation thing, because keep having that with white artists who dip in and then dip out once they get what they want from hip hop, and then they bounce, right? Someone like Post Malone, for example, so, whereas Mac Miller, he was part of the culture, right? He clearly cared, loved the art form. RA does, so does Eminem, right? These guys are not culture vultures. You can make a comparison between them because they're lyrical guys, they're old school guys who are in their 40s and making music still. Both released long ass albums last year as well. Like, I'm sure Eminem listens to RA. He must do. RA must keep him on his toes, surely. Like,
he's so good.
RA's so fucking good, man.
So good. But
yeah,
do you know what, man?
Yeah, it's a lot to chew on.
We could go on and on, but
we should make that a separate thing, a topic, like legacy, like
I think so. What makes a great rap legacy?
What should older rappers do? What should
make way for the new
legacy?
Yeah, you can.
Things like that. We should discuss that sort of thing.
Yeah, basically, just say to young people, don't do what Eminem's done. Don't overstay your welcome. Simple as that. Or make No.
We'll save this for another conversation.
Okay, but I will finish with this. De La Soul made music for the culture, right? When I say that, I mean that they make music to uplift people. And they have themes that run through some of their songs where they're about the community, not just about them as rappers, but they're about bringing other people through and, witnessing that they're getting older and realizing their own mortality and their own failings and stuff, guiding the next generation through. Eminem could take on more of a mentor kind of role. You know what I mean? Like Professor X from X-Men, and just be like, look, all of you lot, you got your own like little rap superpowers and that. I'm going to make a school of rap. Come and you'll find a home here. Let's go and do some albums together. He could do something like that. I think
that would be sick. Yeah, that would be sick if he did that. If he like did a showcase, like if he dropped a project where it's like Eminem kind of presents and he kind of showcases a bunch of new guys, and he kind of doesn't rap on every song, but he does on the one. He just locks in with these guys, and shit.
Yeah, I mean, they could do an ensemble like 8-minute long cypher song or whatever, and then like all of them could be on it at the end. Yeah, he could come in and just if he needs to destroy people on this one tree, absolutely do it. It's your flipping album. It's your right. You can do that. But,
and you can. You've shown that you can come in with some heavy material still.
Absolute bangers, right? There's no doubting the rapping ability, but I think that it's the kind of singular focus. Eminem is just thinking about Eminem, and I think that's
the problem. Yeah,
but he needs to uplift. Like, I think the reason why I engage more with Royce is because Royce will talk about bigger issues, right? Yeah, he'll talk about bigger things, the community, not just. It's not just a black and white thing or a color thing. It's very much the community. I think he's talking about the hip hop community, and I think that maybe that's a way in which like Eminem could kind of re-engage with people, is actually take a step back and worry about other people maybe. But
he has tried that though. He has tried that, and people bashed him, trashed him for it. So is it just that he needs to execute it better? Because I mean, he says it himself that when he zigs, he should have zagged, because he'll try something new. People will trash him for it. He just goes back to his old thing. People trash him for not evolving. So it's like,
exactly. What can he
really do?
I know artists, like we're quite thin-skinned, right? So I myself,
as much as we try not to act like we are, but we are.
But the thing is, you can create a barrier between you and the world. You just don't pay attention to it. Simple as that. Just live your life.
Yeah.
It actually is that simple, because he's so mega rich. He can let other people take the flak on social media. You don't need to touch it. Don't need to see it. Just worry about you and your family.
I don't think he does. I don't think he does use it.
Exactly. So
That writes out his tweets for him. They're too like kind of perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're too on time. They come up on time at the right time and stuff like that.
yeah,
Clearly got a team behind it. You know, he's not the one posting that shit, but he clearly reads and watches what people say about him.
yeah, and maybe he just needs to stop. Don't be such an idiot. Just do what you need to do, because there are artists that do that, and like the album that I'm going to give to you, like it came up in a conversation today.
Yeah, we're supposed to do our exchanges actually.
Yeah. Well, because it's new format, right? So I'll give you.
So you're giving me the exchange.
I'll give you the album for next week.
Okay.
And this is the first curveball, because we've been like, I've basically kept it in the range of like hip hop and stuff like that, and
yeah, hip hop and jazz.
Hip hop, jazz,
overlap.
I've kept it quite nice, but this is the first curveball that I think I'm going to throw you.
What is it?
It's Rage Against the Machine, Battle of Los Angeles. Yeah.
I know who they are.
Of course you know who they are. They're one of the best bands that have ever lived.
Okay.
They come from a time where music meant something.
Oh, okay. we're gonna go down that road. All right.
No. It's very much like what we were talking about with oh my goodness, Ursula Rucker when we were talking about For Hero, and how her lyrics basically have like many different like facets that you can go down. With Rage Against the Machine, every sort of song is its own story that you have to read the lyrics, and you kind of have to do a bit of research, because these guys, like two of them, the main vocalist Zach De La Rocca and the guitarist Tom Morello, they went to Harvard University, so they are flipping smart people.
Right, sure.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the album called, sorry?
Battle of Los Angeles.
Okay, cool. Oh, all right, cool. That's cool. I'm looking forward to that. One thing actually also I wanted to say, Em, if you're listening, which you're not, stop killing women on your fucking shit, man. I don't want to hear like sound effects of women being stabbed as soon as the album starts and
Just
things like that.
Just the two of us.
Like, yeah, it's kind of
us.
Fucked up how it took for a friend of mine to listen to this album and say to me, oh, I skipped this song, I skipped that song, and me saying why, saying I couldn't take the domestic abuse lyrics, or I couldn't take the I just didn't want to hear the sounds of the woman dying and stuff, and me not realizing it until they brought it to my attention. I was like, am I that fucking desensitized to it?
Yeah.
Like that.
Dude.
To me, it was just, oh, it's an Eminem album.
Oh my goodness. I didn't, until you said that, I had no idea.
I hear certain lyrics now and I just think, fuck, like, how is that okay? Like,
it's not.
It's not.
But this is the thing. He was saying that stuff and it was counterculture. So you were like, oh my God, like, oh, loaded load. You can't say that.
I understand it. Yeah, for sure. See, back then I understand it because he was holding a mirror up.
Exactly.
Yeah, now he's become the culture. Now when he says it, it's just shock factor. And it's like...
Yeah, we see through it.
Yeah, it's a bit... it's a bit childish now. You know,
That's
you're not holding
thing.
a mirror up anymore. There's no depth to it now. Why is yes, okay, you mentioned that you personified the woman as hip hop, and so you're killing the beat because it's music to be murdered by. I get it. Can you not personify hip hop as just a... this is going to sound so fucking like, social justice warrior? SJW?
Yeah, that's it. SJW, yeah.
Which is not. I'm not trying to be like that.
Come on, Karen. Tell me what you think.
Fuck that. No. This episode's over. It's the worst insult you can ever create. I'm walking out, bro. No, I'm joking. But could you not just personify the music or hip hop as just a person? Why is it always a woman? that kind of, I think it speaks to your whole thing about him having this fragmented mind. And yes, I understand you've had some women issues in your life growing up, but please
haven't
move
we
past
all,
this.
like, at some point?
I mean, please, I know, just move past it, man. I don't want to hear it in your music anymore. Like,
yeah, I agree. There's a lot of the old themes, like, whenever I said "Hello, my old friend," it's sad to think that he hasn't moved on really in 20, 21 years. Since I've been listening to him, it's just, dude, come on, you can do better than that.
Yeah, there's very slight evolution. The fact he's jumped on some newer beats, he's actually updated his production style. He hasn't used the FAGGOT word, right? Which used to be a staple in his kind of lyrics.
Oh, and retard as well. Like, he always used to say that.
Yeah, now he doesn't use it. And I'm like, okay, so you are taking some things on board. That's good.
Yeah. I can't believe I just blurted it out, but like, yeah, he said the R word. The R word. Be smart, don't be an R word. But yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, when I listen back to his old albums that I want to rap along, I'm like, because I censor myself when the N word comes up, right? But
everything
else. I replaced it with brother or something like that, right? But when it's Eminem and he's saying, like, I feel weird now saying the F word, the other F word, right? And like, I was about to say it now, the R word, right?
Yeah, because I shouldn't have said it. It just came out.
No, I was literally just about to say it now. It's just that's the whole other section of kind of learning, I guess. You have to, what's it that we have to learn, right? But or unlearn in this sense.
That's
it. I just wanted to make that quick kind of thing at the end, because it was something I wanted to touch on in the review about, because it was right at the beginning of the album with the woman getting stabbed, and I'm just like, it just fucked me up having to have one of my friends tell me that she felt very uncomfortable listening to this stuff, and me being like, what domestic abuse lyrics, or what sound effects, and not realizing it.
Especially like with the things that are going on at the moment, politically, and do you know what? You've even shocked me as well. And
that's the thing. That's the problem with some of the. I mean, this is a huge other topic we can dive into, but another time. But not realizing you have biases, or not realizing you have kind of behavior that you need to unlearn, or stuff that you see as normal, until someone puts it in front of you, and then you're like,
and shows you that mirror.
Yeah, and then you're like, fuck. How did I not realize that? It's like so clear. So if I hear this on the next Eminem album or whenever it is, like, if I hear this sort of shit, I'm just gonna be like, nah, why? He's
gonna stay the same, dude. So
I just hope there's just a little bit of evolution, man. Just some, please, I beg. Like, you're too good of an artist to waste it just spiraling like in this one tunnel, like having that tunnel vision. But yeah, we spoke about Eminem long enough now. He's not going to listen. So
no, but we don't do it. We do it for you, the listeners. Sorry, again, this has been another Titanic podcast. We are looking at blimey, 2 hours 40 at the moment. No, wait, 2 hours 50.
I really thought we had honed it in, but okay, cool.
No, we hadn't, because you got on your Eminem high horse.
My Eminem high horse, brother. I was trying to take him down, a step,
You know what? Like, in all fairness, it was the pair of us. I think that he's a huge artist, and there's so much to say, because everybody has such a long history and a long relationship with him and his music, as well as his antics as well. So, I mean, it's fair enough. Like, we went in deep on this episode. So,
because we're going for shorter ones, at least we're trying to be more focused next time. We're going out with a bang.
That's exactly it, right? So I was about to say that, starting from next week, KD, hasn't given me an album to exchange. He will give me that album at the end of next week's episode. It should be a lot shorter than this. The thing is, the way that I can gas on and on and on and on about Rage Against the Machine, I could talk for about 3 hours just on them myself. But anyway, look, massive thank you guys for listening and sticking with us so far. Your feedback and support has been absolutely amazing. We will keep going for as long as we possibly can, and we love doing this. Blessings to all of you, and
blessings.
I guess
on stereo.
my goodness, yeah. So catch us on stereo. Will be sending around a couple of reminders on Insta, Twitter, and WhatsApp and stuff. Sure. Yeah, so we'll be live this Thursday at 8:00.
Yep. So get the stereo app, create your account, find us on there, KD94 and DA. What's yours?
Renoir. Yeah.
Renoir. Yeah.
Basically, look at my Insta.
Yeah.
Copy my name, and you'll find me.
Yeah, you'll find us all in there. So get on in there. It's a new hype. I'm going to see where it goes, and we'll, from now on, try to have these kind of more off-album discussion, tangent type topics. We'll fully flesh them out there, and you guys can interact. Be part of that conversation. Because that's another thing I've heard from people. They say they want to join in our conversations when they listen to our episodes. So I'm like, okay, that's sick. When we go on stereo, jump in, throw your voice into the ring.
Calm down. And it's going to be, I get the feeling we're going to be on there for hours. Anyway.
I say we set a timer, but we'll see how it goes.
Let's set a timer. Yeah, like we have this time. Wow, 2 hours 50. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Peace.